This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BW, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I am James Boyd, and here with me I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. We got a lot of stuff to cover here. Very excited get these awards in the atmosphere. So we worked pretty hard on them. Shout out to everybody on the stream that was rocking with us on the pre-show, finalizing this joint. We got a lot of people tuned in here as we're going live. I got my booster shot this weekend, so I was in the house chilling. So with you, man?
Not too much, man. The wrestling caught up to me. You know, I can give you a hot like 10 days watching the shit ton of matches and shows, whatever else. But like, I had got to I got to Battle of the Belts, or I got to Rampage Battle of the Belts, and I was like, man, I'll watch that. I'll get to when I get to it. And then like, it was like, but you also got to get to that so that you can then get to like the New Japan versus Noah show. And then like, you got to try to get to whenever the 3 Stardom shows that went back to back to back get up. And I was like, I ended up having to call a timeout on the New Japan Noah. So I'll get to that. We'll get to that and cover it next week. But yeah, like I ended up watching Battle of the Belts, ended up watching Rampage, ended up watching 2 of the 3 main events from the Saturday through Monday shows for Stardom. But yeah, man, like I went into this, I was like, I feel like I was gonna get burned out, and like I feel like I slowed myself down before I was like, fuck wrestling for a while. But like, but I can tell you, like when I watched last night, because I've only had like an hour of sleep in the last 48 hours, whatever. But like when I watched Battle of the Belts last night, I was furious. You saw my messages, right? I was like, 3 straight matches of 3-star wrestling for an hour-long show that's supposed to be a special. Why the fuck did they even do this? Like, I was... Bro. Unbelievable.
I was watching it, right? I was like, all right, cool. Like, I liked Sammy and Dustin. I guess we can start there. I liked Sammy and Dustin. I thought Dustin actually looked out of shape. And, like, he had a huge double chin that he hasn't had in, like, a long time. He was wheezing around the ring. I feel like, you know, this was a short notice thing because it was supposed to be Cody in this match. Maybe he wasn't prepped to wrestle, but they did some crazy shit in that match, and you know, it was fun seeing like, you know, Dustin do the Canadian Destroyer and pile driver outside, Sammy going ape shit and actually win the interim title back, and you know, creates a 2 champion scenario. They set up him and Daniel Garcia. I was into all that.
Yeah, I like the direction they're going with it. I thought that obviously that was the right choice if you're going to do interim titles. I wish they didn't do it, but whatever. We're already here. So, while watching it, I did not know whether or not like Dustin if that was comedy they were going for, or if he was actually really gassed. Either way, I was like, I wasn't feeling it. So I was out on a lot of it. And then like Arn comes out, and pulls out
Fuego's under the ring.
Fuego's under the ring. Arn pulls out the Glock on him and gets him to run away. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why is the table here? they like there's a part in the match at the very beginning of the match, like in like the first few minutes, where like Dustin is going to ram Sammy's head into the steel steps. Sammy blocks it, so then he just grabs his leg and bashes his knee into the steel steps. Sammy's knee into the steel steps, and then like next thing you know, like Sammy is doing a double jump, like a springboard to other rope, like it's not a 450, but a flip to the floor. And I was like, oh, what? Why do you even do that? There was also in that same, like in the early beginning of the match, like Dustin, this dude's been wrestling for like 30 plus years. He does a fucking power driver on the floor. I was like, what the and then they went on and wrestled like another 10 minutes. Like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Like this old school, like I want to know who saw that like knew him when he was a kid and was fucking disgusted. Like I was like, are you serious? You power drive him on the floor and then you proceeded to then go do a bunch of other shit? Whatever.
Bro, like, what did Ross say to him after?
Right. I know Cornette was like, son of a bitch. Like, I know he's already mad. He's like wrestling like Guevara. He's like, but anyway, besides the point of saying like, who else got pissed, old timers got pissed on it. I just like, it didn't really work for me. Like, I think there were some cool spots on, but that's the only thing that like made me think this match didn't stink, to be honest with you. So like I ended up giving it just like a flat 3. I was just thoroughly unenthused by it. Like, and also it's like, I feel like if I was, the match in my head I expect between those two was much better too. That's one thing. Like Dustin, last time we saw him really was the match against Daniel Bryan. That match was great. And then, Guevara had been on a tear, and I thought this was below what Guevara had been doing, so I was kind of disappointed. So that's whatever. It was a good match regardless, but I was just like, it just didn't grab me in that way. Next, what was the next match after that?
Seidel and Starks. I was not a fan of this. It just didn't click. I thought the crowd was dead. They were dead, I think, a lot of the show. They did get into it like at parts during the main event. Mm-hmm. But the Seidel and Starks, I thought Seidel like wrestled well. I didn't think Starks was necessarily all that impressive. I was
just about to say, it seemed like Seidel was like in a different league than Starks. So I don't know if Starks is rusty because he don't really wrestle that much since Page broke his neck. But I was just like, yo, he is like that Matt Seidel guy. He's really good. And he was wrestling like he was also in there with someone really good, and they didn't hold it there to the bargain. But that's the first time I ever seen Starks like not be sharp, so it was kind of weird. But yeah, I would still say like I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was a good match, but I just thought that like somebody's wrestling at a higher level than the other person. And it was kind of like I was taken aback by just a different level. Like one person was here to show up and show out, the other one was like, okay. They keep me in the announcement for a reason,
I mean, that you could say that some of that kind of carries to the main event. We have Britt Baker and Riho for the women's title, and I gotta say it, man. Like, tired of it. Like, this is like the house torture. What they're doing with Britt right now. Like, it's never been this bad. Like, I was just watching this match. I was like, bro, why does she need all this cheating? Like, and then like, it's not even necessarily that it's the cheating, right? It's like the setups look terrible for the cheating. So the stuff with all the friction with her and Jamie Hayter is playing out, Rebels getting involved, throwing everyone out, and it's just like, I'm tired of this. Where's Thunder Rosa? Like, bring Thunder Rosa in. We can go ahead and swap this out, because if this is the case, we have Jade with a belt and a heavy and a manager, and then we have Britt with a heavy and a manager. And it's like, are both of these fucking belts gonna be tied up in this heel chicken shit cheating bullshit now? Like, and I think Britt's been like we kind of discussed on the pre-stream, like her material is running dry as far as like promo wise. Mm-hmm. So like what she had going for her was like people would get really into her matches, whatever. You say what you want about like some of the quality of them, but I think she's had enough good matches to kind of, warrant the spot. But I think it's time for her and Thunder Rosa to go ahead and get to it, especially like it lines up with all the reports that I've ever read. It was the beginning of 2022. We're going to push Rosa and Britt as like, the big rematch to their main event, lights out match is like the biggest match in AEW women's history. And I would assume that's what's coming at Revolution. But yeah, I didn't like this at all, really.
It's interesting that you mentioned like you thought that this was like the worst of the Britt like run with interference and stuff, because like that Abaddon match still lingers for me as far as like that is the worst for Britt. So yeah, that's
at least they did wild shit in that match, and it was like there was a comedic element kind of to it. Like I feel like that one like kind of worked or whatever, but this one,
I just think that like I was always concerned about her being the most over person in the division, her being over as a baby face, and them not like adjusting and them just figuring, well, she got over by being a heel, so let's let her keep cheating and then the crowd will just keep loving her. And I was like, I just felt like there was a shelf life on it. And I feel like, as you mentioned, we're kind of up against it. Like the honeymoon's over. So
like they don't have to worry about people like cheering her overwhelmingly now.
Maybe.
Like I don't think like, but she is like really over still.
Yeah. Like I think that what they were going. I don't know if this is on purpose, but it's like when this whole thing was like every defense she had was against people that you knew that like no one was going to believe that they were going to take the belt off of her. Even Riho. So it's about time we give her a dangerous challenger. Like I think she's had one. I
don't think she's had any.
Okay,
personally.
Well, it's there you go. Like you're a champion, you defend pretty regularly, and you haven't had a dangerous person that people really think like the people think that you can actually take the belt off of you. Like that's not good. That's fundamentally a bad idea. So the faster they get to Thunder, I guess the better. We're still months away from Revolution, or is it February or is it March? March, right?
Beginning of March.
Yeah, so we're some weeks away. She can have a tune-up match, and they could probably do the Jamie Hayter thing, maybe before then. I don't know, but
yeah, I feel like Thunder's gonna like beat Mercedes Martinez, like, and then Britt's gonna go through like one more kind of like tune-up person or something, and then they'll get there. Sam had a question. Who had a better reign, Sheeta or Baker? I think had the better reign, even though she copped a lot more flack. I feel like it's Carl Sheeta and it's not close.
If you're talking about belt to belt, there's no question.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you got the Thunder Rosa match. You got the Britt match. I don't know if that was a title defense, but in Georgia, that match was...
That was before she won it.
Okay, you're right. So... if that's the case, like you got the, did they ever get to a Riho defense? A defense against Riho? Because Riho was still in and out and, okay, yes, right. Okay, so, you had the Mizunami match for sure. You definitely had, and you also had the Thunder Rosa match, and those are like two of the
the first Nyla Rose match too.
During the title change? Or when she got the defense?
When she won the belt from Nyla Rose, I think. Okay,
yeah. So yeah, she's just a better wrestler. She's a lot better wrestler than Britt. Is what it is. As far as like as far as for American fans that want people to speak American, I think you might get different answers.
Yeah, that's why you see some of the stuff that like Riho gets on Twitter, and this is why we talked about it here on the show. Like people were so desperate for Britt to win, and I think part of that was like, hey, the audience at large, obviously not like well informed fans and people that listen to shows like these, and I don't know, like because obviously you wouldn't ever hear anything like this, but I think there are a lot of people that thought this little schoolgirl looking girl that can't break anybody was a champion. Nyla Rose was a champion, who they don't look at as like, I don't even want to go there, but like that's out there because she gets that type of shit on Twitter too. So like I think a lot of people were desperate to get that women's belt in the hands of like
somebody that looks like them.
Correct. A traditional looking, like, like what they can identify with, someone they can see themselves in, essentially. And I think it's bullshit.
You know what I like to identify with? Good fucking wrestling. Like,
right.
Like, what the fuck are you watching for, you weirdos? Like,
yeah. Dylan says, "Say it, Rich." I was like, they
motherfuckers want identity politics in their pro wrestling. Like, man,
I think they wanted to see, the white woman win the belt. Like, and
it's so hard for white women to succeed in the wrestling business. It's so hard. It's so hard in America for white women to succeed in the wrestling business. You have no idea. You don't know the half. It's so hard. It's so hard compared to their other women peers and colleagues in industry. It's so much harder for the white women to succeed in women's wrestling in America. So hard.
Yeah, man. But yeah, wasn't into it.
Yeah. Britt's gotta she has some things left to do. That I think be entertaining. Like the Jamie thing be entertaining. Because I feel like they've been teasing this thing, but like they have done nothing to showcase like the kind of personality and charisma that Jamie actually has. So there's that, and then as you mentioned, the Thunder Rosa thing. So there's still some tread left on that tire before you just move it over, but it will be before the summer.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Rampage. Rampage.
Take us through Rampage while I get the
okay.
The
all
joint.
Right. Well, let me. There it is. So Rampage, first match. Jake Atlas versus Adam Cole. It's a good match. Unfortunately, it was taped and the word had got out that Atlas had something bad happen with his knee. So while I'm watching this match, I am sitting there just like, they're doing some really good stuff. And like literally every single thing he does, I'm sitting there wincing for, thinking that his knee's going to buckle. And then it happens. At the very end of the match, as Adam Cole is going for the Panama Sunrise, there's one spot where he more or less like lands on both his feet pretty evenly. And then his knee just buckles and he goes down. And, Adam Cole doesn't go for the Panama Sunrise. He jumps off like he's going to do it, but obviously Atlas can't do it. So he then just kind of like pushes or suggests that Atlas gets down on the floor, on the mat, and Adam Cole then proceeds to grab the foot with the torn ACL, and he proceeds to put a submission hold I would like to call absolutely nothing on, and gets a submission with it. I'm going to.
So did he? No, I saw the video of it.
Like what? He put nothing on it. He put nothing. Yeah. That was he put he put a nothing on. He basically hugged this man's leg, like like this man's calf was like, feel better now, and that man tapped out to nothing. Like Obviously, I don't want him to actually bend his knee after he just tore his ACL, but I was like...
Did he tear his ACL?
One would assume. I'm being presumptuous. That's unfair of me. Like, his knee buckled. His knee buckled, and he was in excruciating pain throughout the whole time, the whole ordeal. But I was just like...
He thought maybe he got lucky, he got a sprain or something.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know the diagnosis or anything yet. But yeah, I was just like, I a bad situation, but like me knowing already what happened was like, what's he gonna do? And he put that on. I laughed. Like, Adam Cole. I almost like, he got to do something to get him out of there, to get the win or whatever. But at the same time, I was like, that's fucking hilarious. It just looked goofy. I halfway expect it to be like his finisher in a BTE match. That's the best way I can explain it. Like that's to be submission finisher, like the calf hug. Anyway,
no, Atlas did. Like, I saw the video. Like he looked a little like he looked like a little bigger, I think, than he did when he was in NXT. I wonder if that had anything to do with it.
Yeah, like he didn't necessarily get he's bulked up. Like he looks like his like he's about cut the exactly the same. It looks like he's put on more muscle.
You know what that sounds like? The classic. I was in WWE. They told me I was too small, so I'm gonna leave and just like start bulking up and getting bigger, and then like that shit like is just like scarred you forever.
Could be. So a part of the angle was for Fish and O'Reilly to come down, and they were going to, I'm presumably, like, stomp a mud hole in Atlas, but obviously they didn't, so they ended up having Orange Cassidy and Yuta and Chucky and Chuck Taylor run down to make the save. Orange Cassidy then produced a steel chain, which made me fucking howl, like, the, like, hardcore Cassidy, hardcore Orange, just made me laugh, but, the heels, they ended up tucking their tail and they got out of there. Next match after that, you end up getting Hook versus Aaron Solo. It's a squash match, more or less, like a 3-minute match that Hook more or less, like, he sold a little bit after some interference from what's your boy's name? Fake Rock, White Rock.
Eli Drake.
No,
LA
the
Knight.
other one, and the one in AEW. Cody, Factory.
QT Marshall.
Yeah. QT Marshall was at ringside. He ended up scraping it or swiping at Hook's leg. It distracted him, and Solo took advantage of that. And then after a while, Hook overcame, gave him some cross faces, and then slid him into Taz mission.
Look at them silently trying to flip Hook and test him as a babyface.
Yeah. So after the match, QT Marshall got in the ring, and he ended up, I think he like pushed Hook, and Hook looked at him and walked towards him, and he ain't want none. And then Hook basically like, I thought so, and walked away, like a fucking juvenile delinquent, to a crowd of cheers. Match was good, just went super short with a squash. There also was a fourth match on this Dynamite, which is Rampage. It was surprising. They ended up having Riho and Ruby Soho versus Britt Baker and Jamie. And the whole match was basically Riho showing, trying to remind people who she is and what she means to this company and that division against Jamie. While Britt is trying to interfere, they ended up laying out Ruby out on the floor. And then Riho was left to deal with the two bigger heels one-on-one. They went to try to basically do like a high-low move on Riho. Riho ducks out the way, and like Jamie's a cracking Britt with like a forearm, and then Riho's catching Jamie with the schoolgirl for the win. And then Jamie and Britt teased dissension before ultimately cooler heads prevailed. So that match was all right. And then the main event was the no DQ trios match. Dan Garcia and 2.0 versus Santana, Ortiz, and Kingston. It was fun. It was hard to shoot. Like, you can see even with the heavy editing from the tapings for Rampage, it was still a mess for them to try to piece together. Did some little cool spots or whatever else. And ultimately at the end, you end up getting Jeff Parker ends up getting pinned by like a double move from Santana Ortiz. It basically was like I can't even explain it, but basically, like, he ends up catching a boot after going through, like, the up and under stuff or whatever else, and then from a tag team doing it to him, and then Santana's been hitting a discus lariat for the win. But, yeah, it was a good match as well. So that's pretty much the week of Dynamite since, to catch everybody up. So next week is Wardlow versus CM Punk. You have Dante Martin back. I think it's against Ricky Starks. No, it's against Hobbs.
I like that angle they did after the other side-out match with Hobbs Hobbs and Dante Martin.
Yeah. They had Lee Moriarty come out to make the save. They quickly get rid of him, dispatching him, and then out comes Dante, and then he uses agility and guile to get Hobbs out the ring. So yeah, that was a nice scene. It's good to see them back. In the graphic, it looked like they're going to have Leo Rush with Dante Martin. I don't know if there's been explanation for now they're cool again, or if it was all a ruse all along. They made it sound like it's been a ruse all along, but like they never showed like that Leo was in on it.
They didn't show it on TV. They showed it on like Elevation, like one of those video packages.
Outstanding. So, all right. So you end up getting that match, and obviously this is time for Dante to recoup them L's he's taken from earlier last year against the likes of Hobbs. So it's time for us to take. Trying to think what else is on the card. I don't even remember.
Sammy Guevara, Daniel Garcia.
That's right. That'll be fun.
Thunder Rosa versus somebody. I don't remember.
I can't remember from the life of me right now.
Yeah. Card looked pretty good though.
Yeah. If this thing is.
But we did have like some mailbag stuff. I'll go ahead and
let's go ahead and get
into that. So first question comes from Sir Sam. Shout out to Sir Sam. He says, do you think Impact is going to usurp AEW now that it is...
I don't know if it's Thunder Rosa, but it's Deeb and Sheeta 4.
That's it. It wasn't Thunder Rosa. It was that. It was them.
Deeb and Sheeta 4. Yeah.
I think he's being I think he's clowning when he says this, because I think people on Twitter were trying to say this. So do you think Impact is going to usurp AEW now that it has ditched Kenny and is getting the epic WWE Royal Rumble bump? He was like, seriously though, any chance any other Impact wrestler shows up in the Rumble? I think it's just Mickey James, personally.
Probably just Mickey. I mean, look, bring in whoever they want, right? I don't care.
Right. Means
you're gonna bring some, like you're gonna bring in Strowman or like Morrissey or whatever the hell Big Cass will call himself. Like, I don't care. Whatever. Like, they're gonna win. Whatever, man. Like, I'm so jaded by what's going on with WWE in the main roster, and like I know Sam, he's heard me talk about it a lot of late, as far as like, look, man, like it's a mess. It's really a mess, and like like I feel like this is earned cynicism. Like, I don't feel like I'm being jaded. Like, if they actually, when they do cool stuff, like I point it out. Even when Rich is like, I ain't really feeling it, I'll still be pointing it out. I think this thing for me is just like, I watch their shows and I'm just like, give me a reason. Just give me a reason. Like, I'm not hating on y'all. Like, I want y'all to like put out some wrestling that I want to watch, and they don't.
There's always the archive. So like, what do I use my Peacock for? When I'm trying to fall asleep or something, I'll throw something from like the mid 90s on. Boom, I'm good.
Don't ever start a sentence with me saying what I use my Peacock for. Don't ever do that again. Okay, that was no. Like, it's bad enough that like every month I have to hear Caleb call it the cock on Messenger threads. It's bad enough I got to hear that. Now I got to hear you talk about your Peacock. No, thank you.
Sam also says he thinks AEW will do at least one more exploding barbed wire death match. I happen to agree. He said, especially after what happened after the end of the last one. Who on the current roster do you think they'd put in one and pitch them a story to get them in it? I'm not going to pitch you a story, but if we're thinking about the current roster,
so I don't have a story, but I know who I think wants to do one and be put in it. Darby Allin. Cool.
I was thinking about Darby. I mean, Darby works with any gimmick match, I feel like
blow me up. I don't give a fuck. Like, I mean, is Darby Allin gonna be on the new Jackass movie? Do we know that yet?
Shit, he should be.
That's where I'm getting at.
Shit, he should be. Why not?
Dude, I saw the trailer for the new Jackass movie, and like I saw like Johnny Knoxville with just great, just pure gray hair, just complete like cotton top. I was like, yo, he's got to be. Remember, like Jackass, like 20 years ago, It was on MTV, and like they were like in their, you know, they were older. They weren't like 20. They weren't 20 with a fucking TV show. And I was like, yo, they're like 45, 50. Looked it up. Johnny Knoxville's 50 on the dot, bro. Like Bam, and you know, Wee Man and all them, like they're in their late 40s. Like Steve O's like 47. I was like, yo, this is they still doing this to themselves?
I got a match. I'll go Adam Cole versus Cody. I think both of them would be willing to blow their ass up because we already know Adam Cole don't give a fuck. And then Cody's out here lighting himself on fire and shit already. So a bomb ain't really nothing. And, you know, you can just move the pyro from his entrance to ensure the shit blows up correctly. So I'll go with Adam Cole versus Cody. And make sure you guys check out Sam's show on Friday coming out. He's going to be talking about the Kenny Omega Moxley match on the AEW Match Guy podcast.
Bro, I never want to see Cody and Adam Cole wrestle ever.
I mean, who's left for Cody? I guess he got to retire then. I mean, that's not like a bad thing, but look, man, I think it'll happen at some point.
I don't know who's left for him to wrestle. I just know who I don't want to see him wrestle. I'm sorry.
Again,
I'm sorry if that's most of the roster. I'm sorry if that's where we're at now. Like change the way you do the way you do professional wrestling. Be more compatible with the rest of the roster.
JML says, do you think WWE goes the New Japan route and does a double gold dash with Brock at Mania? And also, is Stardom being extra ambitious running back-to-back nights at Sumo Hall while New Japan is doing Osaka Hall on the same days? I'll go first on the WWE part. No, because WWE's they can't create fake main eventers that way. And also, I feel like one of those spots is going to be reserved for a women's match. They're going forward. Yes.
Okay.
So like, it's almost like they'll get one by default. Kind of like, I don't think they'll tie up Brock on both days. I think we're still looking at Brock versus Roman on day 2. And then night 1 is going to be whatever points they can score with, you know, the Wokes or whatever. So, and I hate to use that pejorative lingo.
That made me wince when you said that shit, because when I hear people say the Wokes, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to hear anything this white man has to say.
Yeah. But I'm just gonna say what it is, because like, you know, they're like
the liberal WWE, agenda,
obviously. Yeah. Obviously, WWE has their own, like, you know, thing they try to do or whatever. So I think that will be what happens here. So going forward. So and as far as a Stardom,
well, hold on, player. So let me get to yeah, I'm with you. I just don't think that they would want to do that. And also, like, if you ask Brock to do both shows, that means you got to pay him twice, if not more than double. Brock ain't doing that shit for free. And Brock, and I guarantee you, Brock has a special rate for WrestleMania because he's not a mark.
Correct. Just like Mercedes Martinez, not a mark.
Yes, not a mark.
Dylan said, to be honest, I think people overreacted to Brock winning the title when it came to WrestleMania plans. Bobby is probably going to beat Brock at the Rumble. I highly doubt that. If Bobby beat Brock Lesnar, I think that'd be one of the most shocking match results of the year.
Yeah, they don't let Roman Reigns beat him clean.
Yeah. As far like they can just like swap whatever things, like obviously at the end of the day they want Roman Reigns to beat Brock Lesnar, so like you could fuck Roman Reigns out of the title at the Royal Rumble now, easy. And put that shit on Steph, have somebody from Raw win the belt, swap the belts back because Lesnar's a free agent, and then the WWE title is on fucking SmackDown.
Rich, they're not going through all that. Roman is going to beat Seth because the storyline is that Seth has his number. And he's not Brock Lesnar. They're going to eventually fix that shit after all the stuff they've done over those years where Seth has beaten him in key moments. That's going to be rectified over time. So there's that, right? And then as far as Bobby Lashley versus Lesnar.
You name me the black person that's ever beat Brock Lesnar.
I wouldn't even gonna go to that. Because like I wouldn't even go to that. I wouldn't even
just a funny joke. That's all. Keep going.
Okay, so like they put the belt on him. They're clearly still headed towards Brock and Roman over the loyalty of Paul
Sam
Heyman.
said over him.
God damn it!
Yes, in a situation where Overeem decided who the winner was. Wow. Yes, Brock lost
in a shoot. Sure. If you'll shoot for it, sure. So the thing for me is like there's going to be title versus title at WrestleMania, and then like they'll sort it out afterwards. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, like I think that's how you get out of having one of those belts defended on the first day. If you go that route, you put both belts in one match, second day, and then, you line up your women's main event, you line up whatever you want to do night one.
Like, this shit is fake. Like, if they wanted to figure out, like, if there are plenty of times and ways to get around all of this. Like, Seth Rollins was supposed to beat Big E. Like, they could have put Brock in that match, had him wreck shop, and then still had Seth beat Big E. They did not do that. What does that tell you? Like, like even if you want to throw away the brand split thing or whatever else, but like Seth's gonna beat Roman, and then like take the SmackDown title from their A show and then take it back to Raw. That's not happening. Like, I
mean, Brock already has the other belt, so they could move him over because he's a free agent. So I don't know. I think it's all pretty convoluted, and yeah, they're gonna exactly what Dylan's saying. They're finna get this
colors back. They're just gonna do a double title match at WrestleMania between Brock and Roman because that's what they were trying to do all year long.
Yep, and they're gonna get this double turn popped off.
Yeah.
So. Big eye roll. Those of you guys that are catching this on the podcast form.
So, so the next question was about Stardom doing the two.
Yeah.
All right. So, you had sent me a clip of a press conference where I guess that was for their January pay-per-view, where it's Tam and it's Mayu and it's Julia. And Mayu is catching hell trying to say a Ryo Gokugen, right? She's just catching pure hell saying, like, you go to my Twitter account and look at the recent tweets, you'll see her just fucking that up, like, over and over and over. And like,
funny.
Tam is like, no selling because she's like, you're not about to get me with your funny shit. And then like Julie's like, she fucking corpse. She just fucking corpse. She puts her head to the ground like a shamed student for like just breaking. And she's you can see her body just like relieving laughs as she has her head down. But yeah, man. So like that set off my alarms. Like, what the hell's going on? And going to the schedule, looking like they're doing a 3-way match between Mayu, Tam, and Julia. Where I guess it's for 2 falls. The person with the first fall gets a match gets a title shot against Shuri on one of the shows, and then the person that wins the second one gets the other shot for the Red Belt. So they're basically doing a fucking double gold dash. Yeah. I fucking hate it, but you gotta sell big matches at the top of the card for Sumo Hall. My whole thing is like, I figured that those 4 would be in those top 4 matches or top 2 matches one night, top 2 matches the next night. I figured those 4 would be heavily involved in all of those. So I don't know what element they're gonna have. Like maybe this, they put the tag titles in some main event on one. Put the white belt, some main event the other. I don't know. No idea. But it's gonna be interesting to see where they go with it, because like there's no doubt in my mind that whoever doesn't make those March dates for the red belt, whoever ends up getting pinned twice or ends up losing is going to get a title shot eventually against later on. So whatever. What was the question in full form?
He was basically saying, are they being extra ambitious running back-to-back nights at Sumo Hall while New Japan's doing Osaka Hall the same days?
I don't think so. Because one is like, if you're someone that likes both of them, and one's on the other side of the country, and one is still in Tokyo, still stay your ass in Tokyo if you like both of them. I don't really think there's. I mean, obviously there is crossover, but I don't know how much of it that there is. I don't think that. I think that it has helped them that they've had like ran shows in buildings that like New Japan is about to run soon. But I don't think that it's going to hurt them that they're running a big show on the other side of the country. I just don't. As far as them being over ambitious, when I saw they were doing back-to-back nights, I was like, I don't know, but you know, like they're kind of hot. Like they sell their tickets. Like, you know, people thought they were going to sell like 2,000 tickets for Sumo Hall for the December show. They sold 3,000 and change. So, you know, they end up getting, I don't know, 4,000. If they sell 4,000 tickets, probably still a success.
Mm-hmm. King of the North says, who is Rossi talking to in the office and how long until Saya spoils it?
Well, everybody wants to be Kyrie, right? Like, and it's like, obviously that wasn't, even if it is Kyrie later and they like, you know, this body swap, right? Clearly was not
retcon.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like they wouldn't tease her. I don't feel like they would tease her like that. I feel like she would just come out at a big show, say hi, or show up at Corgan Hall and be like, hey, I'm back. I'm coming back. I'm going to do this. And then, like, obviously, Unagi would bring her monkey ass out there to get whooped and get a bulge thrown down on her. But, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of people out there. Personally, given what this angle is, I don't need nobody else going to Donald Mondo. They're kind of set there. Like, if anything, I think Queen's Quest would need some help. I think I don't know. Stars getting back Ida. I mean, maybe it's somebody's factionless. I don't know, but I think we'll have an idea of what it is or who this could be like if we get an answer on what's going to happen with Julia and Shuri or the splitting of or fraying of DDM if and whenever it happens. Because like, I just don't. I think for the company to expand and get more people, because more people are going to come flocking, or not more flocking, but you know, more people are going to want to come into Stardom. You kind of have to break up DDM to because their numbers are already at 7 now.
Jeez.
Oedo ties at 7 as well. Like everybody else is at 4 or everybody's is at 5. So like, to be able to book a card, I feel like you need some dexterity. Or some flexibility, not dexterity is the word. That's not the word. Flexibility is the word. So I feel like you kind of need to split up like this faction of 7 people that you all want to push at the same time. Split that up, break it in half, and then go from there.
Bring it up. Bring it up.
Right. And I mean, they were OP when it was 5 of them. Am I wrong?
Yeah, they were already a starting 5.
Yeah, like Natsupoi is fucking awesome, and it's like she's the 5th one. How's she gonna get pushed? She's 5th.
Yep.
But
she need to turn, you know.
Yeah, like I'll give an answer. Rich has heard me say this name. I don't think he's ever seen her wrestle, but he's heard me say this name plenty of times. Miyuki Takase, bring your ass to Stardom. They got Natsupoi, your homegirl. They got Himeka, your homegirl. Come through. Be the final piece of this at rest to Stardom pipeline. Tam, Himeka, Natsupoi, Waka, Mai, just got Momo Kogo. Come through. Ask your friends. They all here. Come through. So that's
you heard it here. The official Dr. Joshi doctrine. Bring your ass here.
Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Actually, I was watching some TV show called Superstore. It's kind of like The Office for like for Walmart. Anyway, this dude was like a regional manager, and he walks in. He's like, "Hi, Rex Joshi, Mr. Joshi, nice to meet you." I tried to clip it to send to y'all, but I couldn't. I couldn't get a clip of it. But yeah, I just wanted to bring it up. If you're gonna bring someone to Stardom at this point, either you need to help facilitate breaking up Donald Armando, or you need somebody to help Tam carry these fucking these fucking green ass motherfuckers in Cosmic Angels. You gotta do something to help facilitate. So Miyuki Takase says she could do that either way. Like, you want to put her with Natsupoi and Himeka with Shuri, great.
So Sam Weller says, when are we going to see talent/angles move up from dark to the main show? Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela was worthy in his opinion. Second, has the Wang Man quieted critics, or are there still questions to be asked? Love the show.
Thank you. As far as the dark stuff elevation stuff being elevated to the main roster, I think when it warrants it, yes, and I think in some cases it has. I don't think in all the cases it has. Like, I saw some of the gifs for that lights out match, or what was it called between
I think is it like a node
Kiss and between Kiss and Janela, and it looked like it was a good ass match. Did you watch it yet, or?
I have not seen it yet.
Okay.
The only thing I can say about the talent angles in dark, the way dark is currently like formatted, they're shooting it all in advance now, and it's like elevation's not kind of really used for. I think dark's like a deeper dive, and like you may have story opportunities on dark, right? And it's all shot in advance, so I think it's a little bit tougher to like translate that into the show, especially with like how loaded AEW is. And
well, I mean, if you
I don't know how it works.
2.0 on that week.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Like, I was going to say I don't know, because like lately Tony's like booking has been very conservative and like saving stuff. So like you can't like, and that's why you'll see 2.0 eating innings and stuff like that. So like if you want to swap some of that stuff out, you could, but I feel like the self-contained stories in a sense makes dark a destination. But yeah, like like James said, I think, we have seen people go, obviously, like they've graduated from dark and went up in the past.
Scorpio, for example.
Yeah, Scorpio Scott. Dante Martin started on dark. Hobbs was dark. 2.0 was on dark. Daniel Garcia was on dark. So it's just, Jade racked up a bunch of wins on dark. So they, I feel like you never know where it's going to quite come from. So,
what was the second part of this question again?
Has the Wang Man quieted the critics, or are there still questions to be asked? I said on the show last week, I think he's on fire in the ring. I guess the only question would be like, what's it like when he's in there, like with someone that's like not a best wrestler in the world contender? I guess that's the only thing to say. But I've been very impressed by the Wang Man.
I mean, to be fair, given the amount of talent that Tony Khan has accumulated, he could just do the kind and be like, I guess we'll never know. Pac, bring your ass back up, bring your ass back through. And then like after Pac, I think it's done with Pac, is like, okay, well, I guess it's time for Malachi. And then after it's done time for Malachi, it's time for Adam Cole. And after we're done with Adam Cole, it could be, that's 4 or 5 months worth of shit right there between those two people. Yeah. So MJF, so I my question for him, I already knew he was a great wrestler. Like we've seen him, we've seen him be great at wrestling, even before AEW even started. My concern with him was like, one, is he ever going to talk for himself, and is he going to be less wish? I don't want to say half-baked. I would say if he came off as more, if he actually believed in himself, like that whole, like, little engine that could shit doesn't work for me. Like, I think I can. Like, nah, man, you need to go fucking see. Like, fuck the I think and I hope and I wish and I'm down in the dumps and everything's not working for me. Like, get off your ass and go fight. Like, you're top babyface in the promotion, or that's what they're position you as. Like, stop being down in the dumps. But outside of that, like, the match will never follow me. Like, and like, to be honest with you, as this has gone along, like, I am now like even more confident in his wrestling. Because he's having even better matches than he was when he was having 4-star matches here and there and 4 1/4. Now he's out here reeling back and getting 5s and 4 and 4 3/4 in every big match. So, and obviously, you know, he's been in there with Omega. He was in there with Danielson, but it's like it takes 2 to tangle, and that dude was already a great wrestler anyway. Like, the Shawn improvement in the ring was never the issue with me. It was always been his charisma, his likability as a character, given with the acts that he, you know, doing, like, with, you know, screwing over his own friends or whatever else, because he, you know, he couldn't feel that he couldn't just tell them I don't want to hang out with you right now.
And I think it's good that they're going with him, like, right now at this point, because he's 30 years old, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, this stuff becomes important like 4 years down the line, 5 years down the line, like. You know, at that time, Hangman will be 35, right? And it's like he'll have way more experience on him, like championship pedigree. And then, like I was looking at a podcast that was happening with Imp today, and he was going to have rants on there, and they were going to talk about the state of WWE and AEW. I missed it, but it was my intention to go in the chat, and I wanted to ask Rants. I was going to say, like, how do you feel about like the main event scene, like essentially being the same as it was in 2015, like with the Brock and Roman thing? So that's why I feel like with Hangman, in his case, like him being like this 30-year-old guy now, and going forward, it's like, all right, we went through that in his early 30s, like, and he's young, and you still got a lot of future ahead of him, right? And I think WWE in a way did it the right way as well, like where Reigns was very young at that time. I mean, he's like 35, 36 now, but I think they've just been so overexposed to a degree where that's just kind of stale for me. And Hangman can come back, say, you know, this is his run when he's 30. You can have a run at 33. You can have a run at, 38, and, it's always good to have someone in that early 30s range that you're belting up, strapping up, seeing if they can be the man. And like, I have been very impressed.
Yeah, I don't have any disagreements with what you're saying. Like, it's all about cycling. Like, it's a sports team. Like, people like Cody think that like wrestlers' peaks are 35. I think in this era, that's kind of skews younger. But ultimately, like, giving somebody a shot, let them be on top, and then by the time they're off the belt, they're still not even 32. There have been worse things in the world than that.
Yep. So,
especially when like you're doing this Pillars thing, and all the Pillars guys are like under 28.
Right.
So,
right, and they're going to be coming next. And then by the time like they're like knocking on the door for 30, you can belt them up when they turn 30. It's like every time you got somebody turning 30 damn near, like you can.
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of like Page is a bridge / middle child, like for the promotion. Mm-hmm. Like you look at Jericho, Moxley, Bryan, Cole would also be put in the middle child lane too, right? So like Daniel, CM Punk, or Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Jericho, Moxley, Omega, like those guys are in their like late 30s of early to mid 40s, and then like the Pillar guys and Garcia and Moriarty and Dante Martin, like they're in their 20s. Wardlow, how's Wardlow? Is he 30?
32, I think.
32, like so he's in the middle child range too. It's like you kind of got to get those people like kind of ready. Like they already did with Hangman. So it's like you gotta once you age out of the top of the AEW card, they're next. And even if like they aren't the guys, they're gonna be wrestling the guys. So like Cole's gonna be wrestling all the 4 pillar guys. Like so, same for Wardlow, same for Page. So it's like you kind of got to get, and when whoever else may come in pretty soon from Cleveland, Ohio, or so. Yeah,
that looks like that's on deck.
That's so like that's very important. That's very important because like they had themselves a nucleus of older guys. So it is important that they are able to like now be able to transition to a future, and they've done a way better job than the worldwide leader.
Yeah, MJ Does PR says, who had the best mixtapes of the 90s? Clue, K-Slave, Flex, or Who Kid? I was not a 90s mixtape person. I was a early 2000s mixtape.
Now, my question is this. Like, now that you mention it, like, the Who Kid is the 2000s, it's not the 90s.
Correct.
The professional stuff was a big deal. Like, Clue was bigger than them in the 90s. Now, if you want to get to the K-Slave, stuff in the early 2000s, and then we can talk. Like, let's just do that. Let's have a conversation. Best mixtapes of the 2000s. Best mixtape DJs. I mean, I'm partial to DJ Drama and Gangsta Girls. That's a regional. This is regional bias, but
honestly, I think a lot of like the best mixtape stuff was like self-produced, like Dipset or Diplomat's volumes 1 through 5 and shit like that. And obviously, you can say G-Unit Radio, you can say Who Kid and stuff like that. But like, Lil Wayne Dedication,
Dedications, the Squad stuff. I don't know if you ever listened to Squad stuff. That's more before he, That's like the transition from. He's a mixtape. He's a really prolific on mixtapes to like then he arrives by like you get to the Suffix and Previx shit. Like that's when he's like
Desert Storm, MJ, obviously the Fab and like Joe Budden and all that stuff. Yeah.
Mixtape,
lots of stuff.
There's
Cassidy,
yeah.
So, I don't know who had the best. I guess you can go with I'm partial to like some of the G-Unit stuff. It was just like so fucking big, so fucking big. Just taking people's songs and they own them now.
Remixing hell them shits. I think because I'm so partial to it. Like I think once we got to the 2000, like once we got past Trap or Die, like that completely in Down with the King, like I think that changed everything for Gangsta Grills, and then like you start getting like, oh shit, like Nelly wants to do a Gangsta Grill, like Busta Rhymes wants to do a fucking Gangsta Grill, Pharrell wants to do a Gangsta Grill, Luda did do a Gangsta Grill, and they kind of changed like for me personally, like sorry,
so they changed the math on it a little bit.
Well, I don't know about changing the math. I thought it was really cool that they wanted to do these things, and then they rated his shit, and they were trying to get him in with a RICO charge, and it was a rap after that. It didn't matter. Like you can put Gangsta Girl used to mean something. Yeah, Gangsta Girl shit didn't matter after that at all. Like sorry, Drum. They just nah, man. Sorry to the affiliates and all that. Sorry, man.
The Hitmen.
Like, just, it didn't matter. Like, Cannon blew up as a producer over the last, over that 15-year thing through there. Like, a lot of those Uzi songs were done by Cannon. Mm-hmm. Also in addition to the stuff he did with Jeezy or whatever else. But still, it's just that meant, he had the mixtape, or he had the album out, they kicked in his fucking door, took his shit, they had people come in and re-record that stuff, he did a song called Fans Taking Pictures, no one cared, because Fans Taking Pictures, literally, we don't want to be involved around that riff-raff, we're good, it's so weird, because, if you had told me there's going to be somebody that's going to be more or less from the South that's going to become a compilation DJ for albums like Khaled did, and it wasn't gonna be drama, I would have been like, nah, it's gonna be drama. Like he has the inside track to all this shit, and that shit happened. Never. It never got the ground.
It was like it never happened.
Yeah. Really strange. So I guess that's actually
big fan of No Ceilings and also Drought 3 and stuff like that too. So Howard says, I know it's late, but I want to congratulate you on your theory about Triple H with the news reported by PWI Insider that NXT 2.0 has been told they now report to Pritchard. Question from Bruce. How would you script Mox's return to AEW?
I mean, you kind of got to get him in there and have him go full bore at somebody, and I'm assuming it's going to be Bryan Danielson. He's going to come back, he's going to be really angry. I think that's a good spot to put him. Because, I mean, that's what they were going to do.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, he comes back and it's like, what's next? Obviously, I don't think he's come back right now, immediately the second. I mean, like, maybe in a month, maybe in 2, maybe in who knows, but that's where I would kind of put them two together and let him do the thing. I mean, we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of places that he can go. Like, he had interaction with CM Punk with the Shield thing, but like they were more or less doing the Roman thing, which is, you know, there's a famous podcast about it. So
correct.
You listen to the podcast. I'm not going to go over that again, but so there's plenty of places to go. Plenty of places. I mean, they want to do the Mox and Kingston tag team. I'll be down with that too.
Yeah, you could save him. He could turn on Kingston. He could.
I think he's
gonna have to be. He's gonna have to be a babyface for a while. But he can get a title shot and lose the Hangman at some point. I think they were going that direction anyway, so they probably want to get that in.
Yeah.
So you want to get to unveiling the nominees for the One Nation Radio Awards?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Yeah, man. So this is our kind of synopsis here over this stuff. It was an interesting year in wrestling. Kind of still feeling the effects of the pandemic. I think for half the year, it's weird. It's even stranger, I think, than 2020 because I felt like we were just completely in the dark. Nobody knew what the fuck was going on in 2020, right? And then 2021 happens, and it's like, all right, we've kind of like learned how to live in the dark a little bit. Oh shit, it's open and light and bright over here again, but it's really not. Kind of still like, so it's all kind of blending in together. So, first award. The Shawn Michaels In-Ring Performer of the Year award. This award goes back many years on One Nation Radio. We got Bryan Danielson, Rey Fenix, Utami Hayashishita, Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Shuri, Shingo Takagi, and the Young Bucks. A loaded category. Yes, very loaded category. I feel like I have a good idea of everybody I saw's year on this and pretty familiar with, except for, Shingo. But, like, I mean, I feel like, I just feel like there's really no wrong picks. I feel like, for a top, if you pay anybody in the top 3, like, give anybody a third place vote, I wouldn't necessarily say that you're out of your mind here. Yeah, like, I think this is possibly like one of the stronger like 1 through 8s we've ever actually put on the board, especially when you're like it's a really weird year for New Japan, so like like there's no there's like it's really weird, so but it's still pretty solid, and like It's also like a really like you see that WWE representation there. Slim to none, like, and by none we mean none, like a couple, like 4 months of Daniel Bryan, right? right. We got Daniel Bryan double dipping as Bryan Danielson, correct. So yeah, let us know who you think. I think I know where I'm going with it. I might have to do some research. I feel like I need to watch some more Will Ospreay stuff. But yeah, that's gonna be a close one. Like Shuri was great. Tommy, just big title matches everywhere. Kenny, same deal, big title matches, just working all different kinds of matches. Phoenix just being awesome in the beginning of the year and peaking with a big title win. The Bucks tag team excellence was again possibly like the best year that they've ever had. That says a lot. Yeah.
Who would be your toughest omission off this list? Who's your number 9 that you're like, or snub, or whatever you want to call it?
I think that Darby had a year that I really enjoyed. I just don't think he peaked at like the top levels of like work rate. Hangman Page, I think what hurt was like, missing chunks of the year and then just being inactive for some of it. But I would probably lean Darby on that.
Okay.
What about you?
Ooh, I mean, I know where it is when it comes to Stardom. So like, you put 2 on there, and now I'm leaving it at that. I'm not gonna fight for 3, but like, Tam Nakano has like, her match guide looks almost like identical to Nick Jackson's, except like she has way more 7s. So like, but it is what it is. Like, if I put that on the list, she's not getting voted over Shuri or Utami, and ultimately we'd be splitting votes with, even if she did, she'd be splitting votes from Shuri and Utami. So it is what it is.
So WWE Women's Wrestler of the Year up next. This category was slim. So we got 6 nominees. We got Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Raquel Gonzalez, Becky Lynch, and Rhea Ripley. I wasn't too particularly thrilled about any of these women's year, personally. I feel like there's massive gaps in each of their resumes, whether due to being off, whether due to bad booking, whether due to just not achieving at the level or being cycled down. Like, there's just like a myriad of issues, I think.
They have signed, I don't know, a quarter of the top wrestling talent in the last decade, at times, right? And then you look at their men's single roster, you look at on the main roster, and you look at their women's single side, you're always just like, wow, I don't feel like there's only like 3 people worth a damn in each division, depending on the jump between each show. They're just bad bookers, and they're bad bookers, and like they flatten out their talent, and they make their talent look like they're not that valuable, when it's like, we watch NXT for years with the women's division, and they always felt like they were like 6-7 deep with people they could pull out for a takeover, for a title match any given time, and that's never the case here.
This is not the case.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Bianca's going to win and running away. Who do you think is going to finish second?
Charlotte.
I can see that. She missed some time, but I can see that. Not much. She missed a lot less time than, like, say, Becky. I would say this. I feel like Becky's had a lot of really good matches since she's been back, though.
Yeah.
I think she could place.
Let's see. WWE Wrestler of the Year. No women nominated. Actually, no. One.
What is going to? I didn't even mean to segue like that, but yeah.
Yeah. Big E, Bianca Belair, Daniel Bryan, Tommaso Ciampa, Edge, Bobby Lashley, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. I feel like Roman Reigns is going to win.
Oh, yeah.
And like, he's been built up to like a mythic level in WWE. Like, this is a push like nobody aside from Hogan has ever received. So like, you're supposed to win. Like, right. You never do jobs. You never look weak. You never like smile wrong. Like, nothing. Like, it's all carefully constructed. Like, this is how it's supposed to look.
Yeah.
Imagine if they did this for Big E.
This is. I was gonna say, like, this is like when you draft a quarterback and you're like, we're building everything around them and we're gonna work on everything they can do well, and not focus like anything he can't do well. We're not concerned about that. Like, we're gonna make the offense theirs, and it's like that is what WWE has became around Roman Reigns, and he's their top star. It is what it is. He's had some. I feel like his first half of the year. I feel like it's a tale of 2 years. His first half, that's a legit, Flair Thez contender. His second half, I don't know what happened. Well, I know what happened.
The crowd started showing back up.
Daniel Bryan became Bryan Danielson. That's what happened. But yeah, he had a great first half of the year. He really did. And they always do it to him. Like, hey, you're doing pretty good. Hey, huh? Doing pretty good.
Time to get Brock.
Yep.
Time to bring Brock back.
Yep. And then we fuck with you. It's amazing. Like, for a person that's a guy, they really do it to him. They really do. Hopefully they don't bust his head this time.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people are trying to bang the drum that Seth Rollins has had this underrated year. Him and Edge were tied together most of the year. I think Lashley was pushed pretty solid. I think he's got a case to place on here. Very pretty much pushed as well as anyone not named Roman Reigns. That's a regular. Mm-hmm. Big E's on there. You won the WWE Championship. I think the reign wasn't great, but he's there. Won the Money in the Bank. Bianca, of course, got a WrestleMania win. Survivor Series win.
I thought you were going to say, got a WrestleMania win. Got a WrestleMania win and got a WrestleMania win. But yes, the Survivor Series thing was a good thing to kind of say. We haven't completely given up on this woman.
Yeah, where they didn't allow her to beat Sasha Banks. Yeah, that one. Yeah, so it's a lot there. And Ciampa, for what he did with NXT, and also his work early in the year going against Walter and stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know who's going to finish second. It could be Daniel. It could be Daniel Bryan ends up going second.
Bro, that happens, like that is a travesty.
I mean, their hottest feud was Roman or their best feud this year was Roman and Bryan.
That's such a poor reflection of WWE.
Well, yeah, all of it is. Look at these awards that we're going to go through. Like, they got very few nominations for this shit.
New Japan Wrestler of the Year. So we got Jeff Cobb, Kota Ibushi, Tomohiro Ishii, Kazuchika Okada, Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Shingo Takagi. Shingo Takagi won this award going away on the Keeping It Strong Style Awards. I would assume that would carry over here.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's unfortunate because Ospreay was having a hell of a year until until his neck got messed up and then he left.
Bro, United Empire was like the most interesting thing about New Japan for a lot of the first part of the year. Like him, Okan,
Cobb,
and Hanare,
when he came in.
Hanare. They were feuding with the dads, and then Ospreay's rising up the card. Like they were the fresh juice needed, not the House of Torture. Like,
yeah. Do we I'll ask you off air. It doesn't matter. Well, I'll ask you off air. But yeah, I think it's gonna be more interesting. Like who's gonna come in second and third, then place, then who's going to win. I think we all know it's gonna be Shingo.
Yeah.
Newcomer of the year, first year in WWE, AEW, New Japan, or Stardom. So we came up with 6. We have Braun Breaker, we have Jade Cargill, we have Carmelo Hayes, we have Hook, we have Dante Martin, and we have Natsupoi. Natsupoi came into Stardom on October 3rd of 2020. So she came in so late that we're not going to hold it against her. And quite frankly, she couldn't. We could because she's so fucking good. Yeah, man. Like you already know who I'm voting for number 1 on this. Who are you looking at as far as people that can place?
Man, I think Braun Breaker is excellent. Every time I've seen him, I've always been impressed. Aside from that first Ciampa match, but I didn't actually watch that whole match. I saw some gifs come out that didn't make him look great, but somebody within their first 20 matches, like he
shouldn't be on TV yet. So relax with that.
And I think he's got this. Like I think he's gonna win. And then it depends if
Dante
the Hook Army shows up here. I'm high on Dante Martin as well. Gonna get there too. Yeah. The Hook Army may show up in the voting.
Hey, the Jay Cargill brigade might show up too.
Never know. Yeah. I think and Dante's just been, if you ask for like consistency and like just always impressing from like the jump, making like when Dante Martin's on the screen, like you're not about to walk out the room just because you don't know what the fuck he might do. So
right.
I think Carmelo Hayes kind of like slid into, it was like he's kind of replacement for Swerve, like in NXT. So like,
never really thought. I don't know. You might be onto something there.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I think this is a really good category, low key, because a lot of different voting factions can show up here, and like I think for me, like I think Hook has something special going for him that maybe no one else on this thing even has. Maybe Braun Breaker doesn't have it, right? But I don't think he has the complete body of work if we're just looking at it like that, just because obviously he's been very protected and they're presenting him a certain way as well, just how WWE's kind of presenting Roman Reigns in a certain way, right? But yeah, for me, it's 1, 2, and 5. It's Braun Breaker, Dante Martin, Natsupoi that I'm looking at that are going to place. I think Natsupoi's going to get some love on here.
I mean, I don't know how well she's going to do. I just know where I'm going to vote her on the thing, and for me, she's going number 1. Okay, so let's pull up her. All right. Look, bro, Dante is great, but I don't think Dante had 22 televised 3.5-star matches. You know what I'm saying? Like this, she is. I don't want to say the worst kept secret, but like. I feel like she is the best wrestler in Stardom that doesn't have a push because she was a high speed champion, but that's a niche thing. But I feel like she could be a white belt champion. Like she's that fucking good. Yeah, I feel that same way when I think of Starlight Kid too. It's like if I were going to start a Joshi promotion. She is somebody that I would pick and I would push, to secondary belt type of thing. Maybe not the headliner or maybe not the main eventer, but she damn sure would be a headliner for me. And they kind of tease they have vision for that too. They put her on the they put her on the Pro Wrestling Weekly commercials for Osaka Joe Hall show and all that kind of stuff. And she advertises and they use her as an advertising front person, but. The charisma, the wrestling, she's just fucking great. So, but yeah, I would, I think my 1, 2 would be Dante and her. Would be her and then Dante, but that's how my top 2. 3, I don't know yet. I haven't really, because I don't watch as much NXT 2.0 as you have, which is, Jade. I love Jade. I don't think the matches are there yet. I think everything else but the matches are there. Hook.
Has the special thing.
I don't really love Hook like everybody else. I like him. I don't love him. I feel like everybody loves him, and I'm just I like him, and I just like him. Love him. Not there yet. I like him though.
So up next we got the Dusty Rhodes promo cutter of the year. So we got Big E, Don Callis, CM Punk, Adam Cole, MJF. Eddie Kingston, Dan Lambert, and Miro. This is the AEW category.
Yeah. Me and Rich had this out to 8. We had quickly came up with 6 for AEW even had other people that would go out to, AEW if you needed to, but, I felt like there needed to be some bit of representation for WWE. Like, I kind of put my foot down on Seth. He put his foot down on Edge. We both recognize that, like, the Roman stuff is cool, but there's also some stuff with the Roman stuff is like there's so much of it that is like, what's the batting average? What's the on base percentage? So we I think we made like an unspoken agreement on that one. But yeah, I feel like some of these years are incredible years. I don't know, man. Like, I feel like CM Punk made such a big. I think he made such a big wave of words, like, since he came in from the first night, to the promo about Moxley, to the promo about Jim Ross, to the war of words with Kingston, the war of words with MJF. I almost feel like this is his to lose, but
the return promo.
Yeah. So, had adults crying. So, I feel like it's his to lose, but it is that category because there's a lot of things where, like, if you were into one thing, like, for example, like, I feel like I am into Dan Lambert shitting on AEW fans. Being a crusty old cornet proxy than most people are. So, like, I think he might place for me, but I don't know how everybody else feels about that. If you are someone that, if you are getting worked by MJF, you will not vote for him because you are being worked. You are marked.
Right.
Yeah. So
you'll see with MJF at this point, man. I don't know, man. Like, it's just like
Kingston has a ton of them.
Like,
Kingston has a ton of them this year.
On fire.
Yeah. So, like, there's like, I mean, in Miro's like all them promos. Like, never has one person been so dedicated to their god in their woman. Like, outstanding work. A renaissance, not a renaissance, a rejuvenation. A one of the best rebrandings, like, since Titty Boy to 2 Chainz. Like, just outstanding work by Miro the Redeemer. Outstanding work.
Don Cal is out of his mind half the year, just like cutting promos about Kenny while Kenny's the champion for 11 months, like bouncing between Impact and AEW and different vignettes, and he was just so phenomenal in the beginning of the year.
Yes. Adam Cole is on here for particularly 2 reasons. For me anyway. His promo work in the build up to the Cole trilogy in NXT earlier in the year before they moved to colors to the rainbow colors. And also one of the best promos of the year when he just completely took a dagger into Karrion Kross's gut and then sliced him open and yanked out his entrails. A promo so good that Johnny Gargano more or less did the same thing weeks later, and we still love that too. This man found a template getting off in that man's ass.
Bro,
you got the girl, you got the car, you got the entrance, you got the music. You know what they do to make me special? They ring the freaking bell. He's looking up to this man saying that, and he's sitting there taking it. Fight that man, Karrion. Fight that man.
Have some pride. And then, like, months later, neither of them work in the promotion anymore.
Yeah. But one was fired, one was not. Why?
Correct.
Because all they need to do is ring the bell. you know Vince lazy ass will actually trying hard to get people over. He's like, Adam Cole guy, like everybody backstage, Adam Cole guy, all you gotta do is ring the bell. We gotta do all this shit for him. Fire his ass.
Jesus. So there's a lot to pick from here.
There certainly is.
So AEW Wrestler of the Year category. This one is a loaded category as well. Darby Allin, the Young Bucks, Bryan Danielson, MJF, Eddie Kingston, the Lucha Bros, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Page. man, there's a lot of good picks here.
Yes, there is. I feel like a lot of people can place. I think we have a clear-cut winner. But we'll see how that goes. I'm interested to see who places, though. But I feel like we have a clear-cut number one.
Yeah, I think Kenny's overwhelming. Like, he's just done too much. Like,
right.
You start looking at having the belt for 11 months, the rise of business, the great matches that coincide with it, all the quarter hours always holding up strong, the small dip when he left a little bit, putting over the next guy. Like, it's too much. Like, he's just a part of like every big moment in the company aside from like Blood and Guts. I think he was like there. Like, you think of Arthur Ashe Stadium, like Bryan Danielson, who's he standing in the ring with? He's coming for fucking Kenny. Like, Rich,
if not for a fucking pyrotechnical glitch, he would have even more things to brag about when it comes to Kenny Omega's 2021. But the pyrotechnics geeks fucked it up, so whatever.
Yeah, I feel like I should be bragging about Kenny more than I am this year, because like you just lay it out what he's done, and it was quite noticeable. The jumps on pay-per-view, and also across the board, like, you know, folding NXT, you know, like all this shit happened. Like the return to hot crowds and doing all the business, like, coincided with him having the belt. And, you know, it didn't matter if you put Christian in there with him. Like, it was like they were going to find a way. Like that first episode of Rampage, that match was electric. Looking at like some of the other names on there, Danielson was just a man on fire from the second he came into promotion. Just like, you know, does the whole thing with Kenny, and you just want to see it again so bad. Then he just rolls into, you know, doing the real comeback that he should have done in 2018 if WWE had the slightest of clue. I feel so vindicated for that. Rolls into great matches with like Eddie Kingston, Minoru Suzuki, Kenny, Hangman, freaking the tournament, the Eliminator tournament. He was on TV every week, just like getting to do what he loved, and that was like awesome. Yeah, like, I mean, unless we're talking about like the you know, January through March, if you will, of Kenny Omega, like Danielson's like first, I don't know, 3-4 months in AEW, like might be like the best 4 months anyone's ever had in the company. Like the only other answer would be like the beginning of this Omega reign, of the Omega reign from like he wins the title to I don't know, Revolution. Like that would be it. Yeah, the Bucks were tremendous all year, and in the tag team reign. So the Lucha Brothers, like in like trios, singles, and tags. Quite frankly, I think the Bucks, like, you know, added to like what I see when I think about the Young Bucks is always versatility. Is like who are their opponents? Who are their opponents? What type of versatile matches are they having? Like, you know, that the match against Moxley and Kingston, a Double or Nothing, was just like phenomenal. I'll never forget being there in person for that. You look at someone like a Darby Allin, carried the TNT title for, I think, 11 defenses, if I'm not mistaken. I would have to look that up, but popping numbers, becoming a star in the process, and really showing he could, you know, they can pick him if they want. Hangman Page completes his arc there. I think there was like a kind of a dry spell throughout parts of the calendar, but I think there's enough there to warrant him being on here. MJF, phenomenal all year, like thriving at just like never getting put really in the main event like spot, aside from like you know, the Stadium Stampede thing, but just like that second like kind of tier has just been rock solid as hell all year, and then like turning up the wrestling a little bit more to make it not as obvious like what his scam is, to make you think he can't wrestle, like so and his promos have just been absolutely fucking gold all year.
Yeah. Kingston's like like, you know, sports, you know, like organized sports, like end of the year they always talk about like they want to do banquets or do awards or whatever else. They talk about unsung heroes. Like he is like he is literally the heart of the city. Like he's that fucking guy. Like they throw him in these different places or whatever else. They don't ask him to ever win or request that he ever wins. He goes out there, he gets hot, he does something really cool, people love it, and he gets put on his back. And like people really want that dude to come through eventually. And I think they're going to give the fans that eventually. But I think this was the first year he got on the board, and like he's actually like a real power player in this company. I think this is the beginning of something.
No doubt. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everyone. But AEW Women's Wrestler of the Year. So we got Britt Baker, Jade Cargill, Ty Conti, Serena Deeb, Thunder Rosa, and Hikaru Shida. I think a stronger category than in the past.
Much stronger than previous years. Much stronger than previous years. I mean, if you think about it, like there are people that like. Last year we were struggling to find 5?
6. We were damn near. Like we had like Anna Jay on the list. I think we did. Okay. We had like Anna Jay. We were splitting hairs between like Anna Jay and Big Swole. Yeah.
So like you look at this year and you throw in, you know, like their women's tournaments this year like have delivered, have delivered, and they've like giving you something to sink your teeth into out of the women's division. Like the Eliminator tournament at the beginning of the year with the Japan side was great, and like, you know, Mizunami could have been nominated for this. Like if we had like swapped the tournaments and did, you know, the TBS tournament at the beginning of the year and then the Eliminator and you saw that Japanese YouTube side. Right now, we'd be talking about putting Mizunami or Asuka, Vinny, or maybe even Sakura on here. It's like that's how good that tournament was. It just is, you know, it's like February or whatever when it happened. So, but as far as people that made it, like I think Deeb had a breakout year for them. Thunder Rosa has been Thunder Rosa for a year now. We know that it's a known commodity. We know that's a future Women's World Champion. Shida transitioned the belt over to Britt, but I mean, this Deeb thing is like she was off TV for a long time, and like I'm glad she's back. She's having really good matches.
Bro, like every time she showed up, whether she was fighting Riho, she had 2 great matches with Riho. She's had great chemistry with Shida. Her and Thunder Rosa had a good match as well.
Yeah,
like there was just she had a very high percentage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Jade, you know, Jade is Jade. Jade's a star.
Yeah, learn it, figure it out. Like if you don't get it, figure it out.
I don't even know if she even has to eventually learn it. I think she could survive, even while like I think she'll improve. I'm not saying she needs to stay where she is. I'm saying like even if she's not like it,
right?
If she can just get to Britt's level, it's on.
Yeah. Yeah, like if she can, like, I just hope like if she can figure out her footwork, oh my god, and it's over. And
I think she has to work on her selling, obviously, because they still don't really know how they want to present her selling, like because you know she's so much taller and bigger than everyone else that they still don't know how. Yeah, it's like in theory they could have her sell like she's Wardlow, but they don't do that. It's a, you know, it comes and goes, but like you know. We'll see how this goes in the future. Like she's a high level prospect.
And Britt's been on top of the division the whole year.
Yep.
Formed a unit around her. Big title change the night she won it. Solid matches with Statlander, Ty Conti, Ruby Soho. Like she's Red Velvet, she's got a lot of like main events, like in different big spots. So I feel like this is going to be Brit, and then everybody was fighting for second.
Yeah, I agree. Stardom Wrestler of the Year, Utami Hayashishita.
The B Priestley Legacy Award.
The B Priestley Legacy. Utami Hayashishita, Mayu Iwatani, Julia, Saya Kamatani, Starlight Kid, Micah, Tam Nakano, and Shuri. This is a really loaded. This is a really loaded category. Like, there are, comparatively speaking to previous editions of this award, there are people that like probably have finished like 6 in here that would have placed in other years. That's how like it rapidly improved the company has been. That's how deep the talent roster is. I feel like there's only 3 people to vote for this. What order you come up with is entirely up to your philosophy for professional wrestling. If you are just a person that wants just the matches, I think it's Shuri. If you're a person that wants a person on top of a card, handing in banger after banger after banger, and presenting themselves like a champion, like an ace, I think Utami's your person. If you want your heart and soul of the promotion, if you want somebody that is going to give you something resembling Western American storyline telling or storytelling from like almost like an episodic type of way, Tam is your person. I think all 3 of them had fantastic years. So I feel that's how it is. I feel like the other ones, the other 5, Julia would have been in the mix, but she had the neck injury. Mayu, for a person, I feel like they do about as good a job as you can do with somebody that is you're still your top draw, but they're phasing down. Like, this almost feels like, do you remember like 2018 Tanahashi? Like, yeah. let's put the G1 win out the way. Like, as far as like, you at any given time, she could be the champion again. She's just not. But they keep her doing interesting things, like the Starlight Kid thing was interesting throughout the year. The Tam thing was interesting throughout the year. The faction warfare between Stars and Cosmic Angels was interesting throughout the year. Like, they did a really good job with someone that like just came off like, you know, their big H run. Micah and Kamatani, I'm gonna put them together. Like, that is the next plan. That is 2022 is 2023. Those could be their years. They both debuted in 2019, and they're here now. And last year they showed and proved all throughout the year that they belong at the top of Stardom cards. And this will be their time to finally get to that point. Starlight Kid had an amazing heel storyline that ends up with her end up with the baddies, and then she had her choice to make of whether or not, you know, she wants to go back to where she was, return to status quo, and she said no. And like, she is the hottest she's ever been in her career, and like, her wrestling is picked up considerably, and she knows how to lay out a match because she was the best babyface. She's one of the best babyfaces in the world, and now like, she knows how to get heat because like she's had to work with people that had to get heat for her. She's really freaking good. She's really freaking good.
Like, if I had to describe Starlight Kid as a heel like wrestler, right? A heel women's wrestler, I would say she's like an upgraded Sasha Banks as a heel, and Sasha Banks is great as a heel.
Yeah. I never really thought about it, but I can see where you're coming from.
You know, working from the size deficit, stuff like that. And, I think Starlight Kid's a little more athletic, and you know, she's awesome.
Yeah,
great music too. So, so Hart Austin feud of the year. So, good old fashioned hate in some of these cases, great wrestling in others, long stories, just exhibition wrestling in others, and some quick to heat up, like CM Punk and Eddie Kingston got hot in a hurry. Gave us a great gif of Eddie Kingston running. Gave us CM Punk calling Eddie Kingston a bum. It was a lot in a little short time. So we got Tommy Hayashisto versus Shuri, one of the more defining feuds in the history of Stardom, I would say at this point. Yeah, just incredible. 3 matches. Even their Grand Prix match was just like, wow, it was 20 minutes. Man, here's your 4 1/4.
Yep. 4 1/4 that you're like angered by.
Yeah,
beat somebody.
Like fuck you. Like in here. Like, so like. And then like that big title change, and obviously the match that kicked the doors open across, Joshi and June. So that's I think this one's going to pick up some votes. Inner Circle. And one other thing is like the same thing as last year, and I was talking about Julia and Tam. Like, I don't think anybody else in this list like had more matches with each other, whether in tag, singles, what have you, where like they had more great matches together. Like, they were putting all these faction matches and prelude matches and build-up matches, and like they knocked out the park too. It's just those are Road 2 shows. So we got the Inner Circle versus Pinnacle. Great stuff like the Stadium Stampede and Blood and Guts. You got the whole Labors of Jericho storyline that played into this. You got weeks of mic work between Jericho and Sammy. You got the great angle where the Pinnacle forms that was just crazy with the double lights out switch, like the Sammy Guevara leaving and coming back. There was a ton of stuff that the Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle, they were popping quarter hours left and right. Like, it was like we were getting like really great shit like with those guys.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega and Adam Page. What can you say about this feud? Like,
it's a feud of the promotion.
Yeah, it's like the history of the promotion. So yeah, you got it did business for one, lots of it. Second biggest pay-per-view in AEW history. They drew great hourly number or quarterly numbers all year, anytime these two were near each other, especially in the summer when they did that first part, that 5-on-5 match, really heated this thing up, had people fucking scrambling and like acting outside themselves. Like, it was, bro, this was a masterpiece.
What I will say is this: had I actually cared about Hangman in the way that other people's did, like, maybe I would have lost my mind. Like, you saw me once upon a time, after a SummerSlam takeover, after Johnny Gargano Wile E. Coyote his ass off the stage to lose the last man standing match to a man that was handcuffed to the fucking stage. Like, you saw me grab my shit, get up, and walk away. Like, so I get it. But ultimately, what it comes down to is, do you trust the booker or not? And like, he had y'all. I understand that you hated it, but you brought your monkey asses back. You tuned in. You dropped your $50 down to go watch that man win that fucking title, and also to see, CM Punk first time as well. But like, that was it. Like, you came to see the title change. You got it. People were very happy. I'm happy for y'all. But don't think I ain't forget. James Boyd remembers. Y'all was out here acting a monkey.
Yep, acting outside yourselves, unbecoming. Like, just we got the archives, we have the clips, we have all this stuff calling in real time. Like, what was happening? Yeah, like, it's okay, man. Like, it was great. Take the ride, man.
It was fun.
Take the ride.
It was fun.
Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole.
Yes, the dissolution of the Undisputed Era. A shot in the end of the dying days of Black and Gold to get a new underdog babyface over, as apparently Adam Cole is out the door because they don't know how many days they had on him, because this is the company that they run. They don't know when people are going to leave. But when it happened, it was hot. And they had some great matches. And they had some great promos with each other. And like, it was really fun while it lasted. But, you know, as all things with NXT Black and Gold this year, this shit got packed up. Ospreay versus Shingo, continuation of their feud going from back to G1s in previous years to Best Super Junior final. They're one of the greatest matchups in pro wrestling history at this point. Mm-hmm. And like they did their thing in the summer. And
New Japan Cup final, and then the rematch is like even better. One of the best matches in the world you'll see last year. I believe Dave gave that one 6 stars. So
that means what? That was their second best match together.
I think that's their highest rated one from him.
Okay, well, I just know that like the freaking Best Super Junior final was like unreal.
Right. So Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan. I immediately was kind of checked out of this feud because I kind of knew what it was. But James thought it should be here.
Oh, you saying like that? Oh, this is the James nomination. Like it was. They had some great fucking matches. Where there's a WrestleMania main event, the real main event, not one of the 4 main events like CM Punk was talking about. They had that, and then they also had 2 other matches later on television, and also after Elimination Chamber, that whole setup to even get to it. These had great matches, and I thought that Daniel Bryan's retirement match, or get the fuck out of here if you don't win a title match against Roman Reigns at the end of April. I thought that was Roman Reigns' best match ever. And that's saying something considering like most of Roman Reigns' best matches are with Daniel Bryan, even though they just love to keep them 2 apart because they're fucking idiots. But I thought they were great. And then like as I talked about, this tale of 2 years, like once Daniel Bryan becomes Bryan Danielson, like Roman's 2021 looks a lot different. It's a shame they couldn't figure it out.
Young Bucks versus the Death Triangle in all combinations, whether Pac subbing in, whether Eddie Kingston subbing in. This shit was going on from the second the Bucks won the tag team titles, in singles, in tags, and trios, whether the Bucks were adding a person in. And then it culminates in that steel cage match where the Lucha Bros win the tag belts. This is like, people talk about like what the Usos and the New Day is, right? Like, and how it's quality and delivers every time. I'm like, did y'all like have did y'all not watch TNT at all? Like that's what I ask. I'm like, these guys are like, you talk about y'all want to do weapons, y'all want to do a cage, y'all want to do a singles match, y'all want to do lightning fast wrestling. How do you want it? Like Tupac would say. And it was just like, bro, like that match where they did Pac and Rey Fenix, the first match of the only Dynamite. There's no more NXT on Wednesdays. That first match they put out there was Bucks versus Pac and Phoenix. 5-star match, went 30 minutes. Bucks break out their new heel characters in that match. Pac and Phoenix go ape shit. Like, that shit was just like, that just set the stage for everything that was about to happen.
Yeah. I would describe Death Triangle versus Young Bucks as like the best pickup game in the city. Like, it's always going to be good. You're always going to get a good run. It's always fun. And it's always quality. Like, no matter what. And like, it's just, they're just, those 5, they're just in sync. They're just in sync, and it's fantastic every time they link up in any iteration. Like it, whether it's Phoenix Nick Jax from a few years ago, it doesn't matter. Like they're just ready to go.
Yeah, I think we got Rey Fenix versus Matt Jackson this year, and that was awesome. So it was like, what? How do you want it?
Yep. Like both of them tagged with both Lucha Bros both tagged with Moxley. I think they faced the Young Bucks, and it was that was fantastic. Like they're just ridiculous. How many different ways they came up with wrestling each other.
Yeah. Then we got the Savage Banks Best Dressed Ring Gear Award. James, this is the first year we did not nominate Sasha Banks on this. Is this like an end of an era? Is is she just like seeping into the name of the award now?
I mean, there's part of that, and there's also the whole part where you gotta wrestle more and have more gears.
Yeah,
more costumes. Also, in the words of our brother from Japan, more sister from Japan, more costumes. I
didn't love her WrestleMania gear.
Black and
was
green,
her highest profile kind of appearance, and it was it didn't hit for me. It wasn't classic Sasha Banks
because she was a heel,
which is cool. I mean, but it didn't hit. So,
she was joining DX.
Yeah, fresh faces on here. Ruby Soho. I think Ruby is come with a very stylish presentation, as far as how she wanted to present herself since she's showed up in AEW. I think some of this can even be traced back to when she was at WrestleMania even. But I think her stuff's been next level, whether it's the jackets, the pants that go with it, the shoes, it's all been kind of put together in a dope way.
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson is on there. He once he was no longer Daniel Bryan, where he was wearing gear where it looked like he didn't care. He basically was let me get back on the horse. I'm gonna go give me some fly shit, and
yeah, pretty much.
Bianca, the best this is her best year of her making all her gears. She's always has a highlight of a particular year. That one year she had the Black History Month one.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite one this year was the WrestleMania one. I think it was the white and blue type joint, and it was just incredible. Tommy, best gear in Stardom, I think by a mile for me. Looks like something Xena the Warrior Princess would rock. Is red and black. Shit is fire. All the leathers, the metal, the chains on it, everything.
She had 2020, she broke out her gear out of she started started to dress more like a star. And she had the battle skirt thing, and it was really cool. And then the go home show for the June 12th match with Shuri, she comes out and she has on this black, red, and gold gear, and I was like, "What is this? This is unbelievable." And then I remember because that was a prelude match, right? And I'm like, "Yo, is this And then I had the picture that just made the rounds, in the Stardom realm of Stardom fandom realm, or just them going face to face. And it's her in his new gear, and I made sure to keep that. And then by the end of the year, and people were asked favorite feuds, favorite women's feuds or in wrestling 2021. I always use that picture of them going face to face with her finally reaching that level of looking like a star next to Shuri, who's always presenting herself and dressed herself and and basically sewn herself on the Soul Machine into looking like the star or DIY, and it was awesome. So yeah, and then later in the year she ends up breaking out a silver alternate of it, and it was it popped even more. It was crazy.
The Young Bucks ditched their longtime look that was pretty classic in some circles, and all the different things they used to come up with that, and then they swapped it to black, and then they're not wearing the tassels anymore. They're putting everything, any color they come up with, they're putting it with matching J's. I didn't expect that shit. They were coming out with fly shit all year.
So I was a person that historically thought I wasn't really. I thought their gear was more or less cool. I wasn't really crazy about it. This year, I really like their gear because like I never liked the tassels. Like I think it's hokey and goofy and or whatever, but it's festive.
You know, you got to be tasseled, man. All the great wrestlers got to wear the tassels. You know,
all the great wrestlers got to wear the tassels, like Ultimate Warrior. So anyway, like once they got rid of that and they started kind of like deciding to go out of that template, like I was more into the stuff they were wearing a lot more. So it was really cool. Like, you know, if they ever go face again, I hope they kind of stick with a face version of this. Like they ain't got to just go right back to the tassels. They can keep that shit in the 80s.
Yeah, they had like that gray color one. They have like the black one, like with the crosses that they wear. They had the Virgil Abloh like Double or Nothing ones, like where it was like pocket and all the other shit like they did. And they actually like paid tribute to him when he died on IG and said that's where they got that from, was Virgil or whatever. They had the pink shit that they did with Cole. They had the red shit they did at Double or Nothing. Like it was like any color they wanted, they were owning that shit. It seemed like, or excuse me, at All Out it was. Miro, like Miro's was wearing shit that I feel like dudes will want to wear going to the gym, going to LA Fitness. Like, hey, these are my shorts or whatever. I'm out here about to lift this weight, move, throw this weight around, and then I'm gonna go run on the basketball court a little bit. Like his shit looked like a boxer, like a fighter.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Like his fight shorts were awesome. His fight shorts looked like expensive fight shorts that I would see, like, any kickboxer, any boxer will wear. And I thought, like, even with the match, with the kick pads, the match throughout, like, I thought it was awesome all throughout the year. And like, it's really hard to make this list while being kind of like monochromatic. He pulled it off. Mm-hmm. Like, I think the last person to really do that, like, on our list is like Kagetsu. I'm just like, yeah, two colors and make it work, like, or one color and make it work. Like he did that. Like he was a fly ass dude that kept it kind of simple or kind of kept it tame. He did a really good job with it all year.
Jade Cargill, from the jump, whether it was gold, whether it was black, whether it was white, like
pink, and
then she broke out the new black one just last week. And I know this is this year, but like like a different.
And then that one is like a variation to look like Storm from Marvel Comics. So like from X-Men, like, so like there's also like cosplay, like she's on it. She's on it. Like we talk. I don't know if she makes her own gear. It wouldn't surprise me if she did.
She doesn't. Okay. I think Sandra does her gear. Or she has done. She at least did that Storm one. Like, but Jade, like we always talk about, there's someone that shows up that gets nominated, like this person just looks professional, has like the shiny gear, stuff like that. She's in that spot with spades on this one. When she came out in the white against Thunder Rosa at the very end of the year, I was like, what the fuck? Like this is a star. This is what it's supposed to look like. So, and then number 8, Shuri. So,
man, Shuri, like, all her gear is fly all the time. Most of it she's made herself, because when she got into wrestling, she had to make gear for other people as part of her young girl duties. And like to see like how she's taken that to the next level is like, it's one thing when like about like Bianca. It's another one to see someone that's like Bianca, but like someone that has like more experience even doing it. So it makes you think like, what other crazy ideas Bianca's going to come up with in the future. Like, because you see Shuri and like she's making her own gear and she has her Wrestle Kingdom gear. That's awesome. She has like the Wrestle Kingdom gear that's like the colorway of like Wonder Woman with the blue and the red and the silver and the gold. She saves that for Budokan Hall. And as I mentioned, like she brought out like when Utami for that prelude match, she comes out and she has that new gear on, and like Shuri's like, hey, don't sleep on me. Like, I mostly always wear red, but I got the red and I got matching with turquoise, and it's this crazy pattern. And you're just like, yo, she's so like Utami just came out here looking like a brand new, like a brand new luxury car. And she's like, Yeah, I got something for you too. It's matte color, but it's hard as well. And then throughout the year, like when she comes out for looking like a fucking like a soldier, like a female soldier.
Yes.
The best way I can explain it for the Grand Prix, like with the pauldron on her shoulder.
That's the classic like Shuri look for me. Like hey, Shuri. Like when I think of her in that gear. Yeah, and then, with the skirt thing as well on that gear, and then like I had saw she had other gear. Like she also brought out like her old gear that she used to have, and like back when she was like doing like more kickboxing influenced wrestling and like in Reina or whatever else, but then and she saved that for her the UWF match. But then like I'm seeing a picture of this gear I never seen before in the preview shot for like the still shot for the match at Sumo Hall. I'm like, what is this? I've never seen it before. And then she finally breaks it out at not Budokan Hall, but at Sumo Hall. I was like, she did it again. Like she's just awesome. And like if you ask me for like most quality gears like in a year, she'd be my pick for this year. But we'll see how that goes. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Also, I think like the jackets and the stuff, like she came out to Budokan Hall looking like a fucking bird. Like it was like a sequin bird. It was awesome. Like she's just the best. She's just really the best at most things wrestling. Folks, I think took a back step was like Kenny. I didn't like a lot of his stuff that he did this year. I feel like he needs to go back to the leather personally. Like the switch to I think when he got back in the leather, like the end of the year, like his shit like went up when he bust out the blue and the gray versions or whatever he was doing. But before that, with the fire pants and all that, it never quite connected with. I think it was better than the gray one he was wearing last year. But this one, like, I think was a back step. I thought Britt was good, but not quite good enough, especially when I compared to like Jade. I liked her jacket more than I liked her gear. Yeah. Because I think she's now falling on the template thing. Like, same thing with Cody, where it's like just the same template. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, AJ Styles had the same template for a long time, and he's always had some great gear. But it's just like, it was like, okay, like, you're kind of, now you're just in the color things. It's like, that's cool. Like, CM Punk used to do that once upon a time. Or still doesn't, honestly. He's still back into, more or less, Someone's gear I like, I just want to give a shout out to Christian Cage. It was like classic, but like the pants were dope. Like the design was dope. Then when he broke out like the gray with the yellow kind of stripes on it, I thought that was incredible as far as like a color combo. And just the design on it, I always think his shit looks dope. So if I was gonna take a futures picks for this future years, Azumi, yes. Yes, but yes, her specifically. Have you seen her jacket? I don't think I have. Okay, so you see new Tommy jacket, you've seen the Kamatani jacket. Her jacket is smoking both of their jackets. Jesus. Smoking. But anyway, I was gonna say Micah because like Micah just like. Oh yeah, her shit always looks expensive. Super expensive, and like I remember like when she first got her young girl gear, and like she showed up to She showed the Yokohama arena, and she was like the Yokohama Budokan, and like she's dressed like a fucking samurai. It's like awesome. And then like now she's like this year the Empress stuff. It was awesome. It was awesome this year for her. I can't wait to see what she does next. I think Cole's switch also to his new stuff is gone pretty well too. I like it. Yeah, I like it. It's not too different, but it's like he had to get away from the Pittsburgh Steelers. In Notre Dame color schemes of Undisputed, and I think he did a good job with it. Up next, the Put 'em in a Coffin Award. Wrestler that needs to start completely over or go away. Man, this is a category of just either people that have just personally pissed us off, or they've just been a strain on the wrestling business, or just someone we just watch them and then like they just make everything worse, or like you just start looking around and be like, yo, how is this like still happening? Like this like list is like bad news for like and it sure is. Number one, Nikki, almost a superhero, dead on arrival. They immediately strap her up with that with the Raw Women's title in a cash in, and that shit don't work. Like all them cash ins stink, and that won't be the last time I say that on this show in the history. So look forward to that. The Fiend, Alexa Bliss, everything Fiend Jace would be on this list. The Fiend himself would be on this list, except that WWE actually got rid of him, so they did the job for us. So they happened to bring this Alexa stuff back this week, and it was just all-time terrible television again. So she saw her name enter this list. The House of Torture.
Oh my God.
Dick Togo and New Japan Pro Wrestling and Evil and what's his name? The pimp, Yujiro Takahashi. Yeah. Just show horrible, just dragging down anything they're involved in, just responsible for one of the worst Wrestle Kingdom matches I've ever seen in my life. They just are the pimple on the ass of life. The Miz. I think The Miz his time has come. It like the act has been like it ran
Your
through.
time is up.
Stale. Like I think it is just like when they put the WWE title on him this year, it was like, is this a fucking joke? Like in this competitive wrestling landscape right now, and it was a joke.
Yes,
just to get it to Bobby Lashley, right? But I'm like, why would you even do that with your championship? You had to go through like a week of The Miz being your champion. Like, was it worth it? No. Like, and like just seeing like The Miz like come out here year after year and like nothing's changed at all. It's just like, why are we still doing this? Dominic Mysterio.
You saving for best for last, ain't you?
Nah, I'm just going in order.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Dominic Mysterio, just like out of the Eric Watts family of like, just people's sons in wrestling that are just fucking horrible. Like Dominic Mysterio looks like he's untrained, even though he's trained with Lance Storm and the PC and been all around in different gyms, and his father's Rey Mysterio, and like they insist on him wrestling like his father, and that's never happening. He's wearing that fucking bodysuit and like no, like and having that dumb look on his face, like no. Get him the fuck off my TV. Put him in a coffin. He stinks. Up next, Cody Rhodes. Oh my God. We've done multiple Come to Jesus segments about Cody Rhodes this year on this show. There will be some people that disagree with Cody being here. I disagree with them. I feel like this is he's suffering from a less severe version, I think, of what the Miz thing is, where just nothing has ever changed with him, and it's just exhausting in a different like kind of form. I don't think his matches have really held up to the scrutiny. The character's been just all over the place. The promos, the racism promo, just the overall, like, Cody Rhodes' essence. It's been a drag.
Okay, Rich. Cody Rhodes apparently has had 22 televised matches in 2021. I'm looking at Cage Match right now. Are most half or less than half of these matches 3-star matches?
Most
are 3-star matches, or most are under 3 stars?
Oh, excuse me. Most are under 3 stars, I would say.
You are correct. Most of these matches are under 3 stars.
Yikes.
Yeah, he has 12. He has 12 matches under 4. So aside from that, like, I mean, after he won the belt, he had 2 of his best matches of the year, 2 of his 4 best matches of the year. He had the Ethan Page match, he had a Sammy Guevara match. Before then, we were talking about somebody that, like, would be at the absolute bottom of Stardom. Like, I have Lady C's cage match guide up, and I'm like, okay, he got 2 7s at the end of the year. She has 2 7s, right? Highest rated match this year, Lady C's match in a 3-way or 4-way match. Anyway, but you start
Lady C greater than Cody Rhodes.
But you start counting out. Okay, he has 9 3-star matches. Lady C in 2021, mind you, Lady C, who debuted in October of 2020 as a professional wrestler, had 20 3-star matches to Cody's 9. Cody's an EVP of the second biggest wrestling promotion in the world. And he can't, because he wants to do bullshit with his matches, he doesn't have good matches. Or he didn't have a bunch of good matches this year. And it's like, look, man, like, the promotion, the at times, if you mention this, like, the promotion feels like it is moved on beyond him. I feel like there's still a fit for him. But he has to change. He has to change fundamentally some of these things. And if he doesn't, it can only get worse.
Yikes.
So
I remember
he's the epitome of he either needs to change or go away.
Man, like, I think he could win this.
Oh, and by the way, Lady C ain't no super rookie. That is not Saya Kamatani. That is not Utami Hayashishita. No. She stunk on ice until, like, the summer.
NXT 2.0. Number 7. There are some people that like NXT 2.0. I won't begrudge them. But if you look at it critically, from a business standpoint, it's not much better, slightly worse when you look at it.
Slightly worse.
Like, you look at it, yeah.
Slightly.
As far as the ratings,
oh,
bro,
okay,
they were doing
okay. I thought you meant like as far as like the quality of the show. Not that.
Oh no. I was saying critically first, then business. Like, it's like took a slight dip business wise. Like, and you know, you look at the
Rich, they're putting
the overall feel
AJ
around
Styles
it
on the show now to buoy the fucking rating.
Right, like they're scrambling. I feel like there are loads of issues that are going to pop up. Because, like, it's easy to, I think, to start something like NXT 2.0. It's tougher to continue it because we're just going to look up and realize, hey, man, these people ain't that fucking good.
Do you ever, look, man, there is nothing worse for a professional wrestler in America to do than be on TV and stink and be green. There's nothing worse. Like, fundamentally, there's nothing worse. Like, This is not Japan where you come in and you're supposed to stink or you're supposed to be at the bottom of the promotion. You're supposed to eat L's and get pinned and get your ass kicked or whatever else for a certain amount of time. And then eventually you flip the switch or you come back somebody new or you learn new techniques or whatever else. And you see the progression from show to show to week, month to, to time shows you're a different person. This is a thing where it's like you have one shot or a handful of shots or less to impress, and you're sending all these people out there that are not ready because they just didn't have the reps, they didn't have the places, the resources to be able to get this done, in overcrowded teaching facilities or whatever else, and it's shown through and through. That it just wasn't good enough. And like, it stinks. It stinks. Like, I mean, quite frankly, like, I'm looking at some of these NXT 2.0 scores on Cage Match, and like, this show is the drizzling shits. Like, dude, like, 22 episodes, I'm sorry. 18 episodes, and only 4 of them have a 7 or higher.
Yikes!
Like, just abysmal wrestling. Like, that's where they are now. That's what they wanted to do. They thought that was better. Good for them. Their median age is older than it was before by like 5 years than it was when it was black and gold. They're, like, do you remember the Locks in Dipset versus right before Jada gets played New York with Ja Rule and Fat Joe, and like Joel's is like, you panicking, nigga, you panicking. Like, bro, when they throw AJ Styles and say, hey, AJ Styles, with your multi-million-dollar per year contract, can you please come to Orlando and work Grayson Waller? Like, you panicking, nigga, you panicking. You trying to save this shit. You trying to keep this shit from going off air. Pack that shit up, man. Like, whatever. Like,
put it on the cock.
Like, look, I understand. Thank you, Caleb. I understand why you're doing that, because you want the check. I get it. But for the betterment of these wrestlers, it is probably for the best that they're not on national television and see people see them stink and then write them off. And then 3, 4, 5 years later, when they might get better, keyword might, people are still going to hold against them that they saw them suck before. Because once you see a wrestler suck, you can never unsee that. You got to see a lot of them being better in America before you can be like, okay, they've figured this shit out, they've learned, blah 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 blah. Like, you suck, and it takes a while to get that. Stop thinking of you sucking. And this is not for the best for them to have this shit on TV. It's not.
Speaking of sucking, Natsuko Tora, the final nominee.
I mean, last year she was on. It was more the same this year. The only thing that makes it lessen was the fact that she happened to blow out her knee in June, and she has not returned. But for the first half of that year, it was still the shits. And quite frankly, if they had not had netted Starlight Kid turning heel in Oedo Tai, that Stars versus Oedo Tai feud for the first half of the year would have been like on my list for like worst feuds of the year. Like, aside from the pay-per-view shows, them shit stunk. It made me like want Mayu to get away from that shit so badly. And Kid as well, but Starlight Kid got a faction at 20, and we're not looking back.
Fortunate injury for the quality of Stardom.
Very fortunate.
The Jeff Jarrett Finesser of the Year Award, one of the flagship awards, I'd say. Who took advantage of their situations to get the most out of them? Who worked their way into big spots? Who was the swiftest business person? So, the Good Brothers, they've been on this list before, but the Good Brothers getting an AEW, man, they were booked everywhere. They were teaming with Kenny. They were doing 8-mans. They were doing 10-man tags. They were defending Impact Wrestling titles in AEW. Just figuring out how to work the game and get a check.
There was literally a time in a match this year in AEW, after there'd been a run of matches with Gallows Anderson working with the Young Bucks and working with Kenny Omega, where I was saying, like, I remember you kept saying, like, we're having good matches. Like, yeah, because they're getting carried by the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. They're getting carried by the Elite. And then literally the next week, there was a match with Kenny Omega and Gallows and Anderson. And inside that match, it featured Kenny Omega with Gallows over his shoulder as he literally carried that fucking cadaver to the corner. And I was like, I'm being ribbed now, right? I'm not joking. Like, this is actually happening. He's literally carrying this guy now. It's not even like a metaphorical thing. It is like literal now. So yeah, man. Like, Carl Anderson, he's cool with me. He can come through anytime. Gallows, I hope I never see him wrestle ever again.
Big Dangly, you in with Big Dangly?
No.
So up next, Kenny Omega not having to drop the Impact title in Impact, even to add on to that to an Impact wrestler. So Kenny Omega found a way to, like, they were like, all right, so we know we got to get his belt back eventually, right? So what are we going to do? All right, we having a program with Christian. We need to kind of heat this up out of nowhere because we pulling this out because to replace the Hangman thing. How are we going to heat up Christian? Got an idea. I'll lose the Impact belt to him. We can do it on the first show on Rampage. How about that? That's a great idea, isn't it? Like, I don't know who pitched it, but it was fucking genius.
I can tell you pitched it. Callous.
Yeah. Callous, like, let's go ahead and, we'll get it off there. You give it to Christian. Christian can go do the dates. Y'all can pop a number. Y'all can change the belt. Like, I kind of think it worked out for the best of the title. It was a higher profile title change, didn't it?
Don't do this. It worked out for the best for Kenny Omega. Look, I don't know who gave him this idea or whatever else, but whoever did, like, good job. Like, because I don't think Kenny Omega gives a fuck about putting no one over. So, like, whoever got in this ear or got in Tony Khan's ear and said, this is how we gonna do this, like, congratulations. Political Kenneth. Outstanding.
Bro, they got to, like, I don't know. I think it was also, it was a higher profile loss than it ever would have been an Impact. Like, more people saw it on Rampage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, like, I don't know. I think it worked out.
Look, man. If that had been, you know what that's like? You know what it's like? Do you remember when Taz went back to ECW?
Yes.
Become their champion. It was some shit like that. It's like, all right, we're gonna bring you in. All right, and then, like, all right, so imagine if that Taz Triple H match had been for the ECW belt. It'd been like, wait, is he gonna come? No. Okay. Yeah, man, it was just wild. It's funny as hell the whole time because it's like you have people on one end that are saying that they're so upset about Kenny Omega being Impact, even though they don't even watch Impact. They're just, like, Kenny Omega has popped the pay-per-view sales, like, by multiples, and, like, people just say, what did they get long term from it? And the answer would be like, money. It'd be green.
Money be green.
Yeah. So, I just like the part where it's like it could be both. It could be like he helped them, and also like I'm not. He
helped himself.
Yeah, I also ain't dropping the belts to y'all. Here, I say this off air to you. Like, Christian is a stamp. That was meld back to send. Return to sender. Send this shit back. It won't be me.
Take this with you.
Yeah.
Take this with you. So Vince McMahon licenses the WWE network to Peacock for big money, and at the same time they give us a like lesser product, like as fans, but like they got like another $1 billion off some shit they already like own. They traded out our monthly subscriptions to their shit, where they had to like uphold a network and shit. Nick Khan gets in Vince's ear is like, what the fuck are we doing? We are a content provider, not a fucking media empire ourselves. Like, let them provide the content. They'll give us a fucking shit ton of money, and they fucking did.
Yeah. There's another come up.
Yep. Tam Nakano defends her championship against only her backstage friends.
Yes, only her backstage friends. At first, I was annoyed because, like, I wanted her to, wrestle the Hazukis, the Konamis, the Jungles of Jungle that ever came back. Momo has this thing where she won the white belt, she only wants a red belt, so like she doesn't challenge for a white belt ever again. So whatever, like, but I was thinking like, top of the card people before, we figure out like who's going to be the next people for this division. Ultimately, the division ended up being like people that kind of exemplify that kind of difference between the red belt and white belt. Like these are people that show emotion, charismatic, you know, and like that happened to be like through that run. It was like all these people that like Tam has prior history with in relationships with, whether it was Saya twice or Saya Kamatani twice or Nasapoi or her two underlings in Cosmic Angels or even Mayu. It always was just like, we're just going to keep going back to my friends. And after a certain point, it got to like, I see what you're doing. It's interesting. It's creative success. But I also noticed that like, this is like the same shit that like Shawn Michaels tried to do after he won WrestleMania 12 in the Iron Man match. Like he wanted to wrestle Diesel. He wanted to wrestle Waltman. He wanted to wrestle Hall, but they all left for WCW. Yeah, Triple H too. Like he wanted to wrestle all them dudes, but they couldn't get his way because most of them went to WCW. So he was kind of, you know, he could end up with, you know, Sid and Mankind and Vader, and it probably worked out for the best for WWE for Shawn 96 when he was out here killing every pay-per-view. But at the same time, it was kind of like, you know, at that time he was consolidating power. Vince or Bret was very aware of that. So I'm thinking, it's like, was anybody backstage like, did he just think Tam is so sweet and nice that like she would never? It's like, yep, she was over enough to have this belt 2 years ago. Y'all never gave it to her. Now she's getting everything she wanted. What has happened now? Like, it was weird because like it was like I always felt like, what is this roadblock? Why is this woman not getting this belt? Now she has it. Now she's doing it. Now I do what I want. Now I do what I want. And I'm just like, you like it, I love it, but I don't know if I would have liked this so much if this had been anybody else that to be able to you know, do this in Joshi in this way or do this in Stardom in this way, because I don't think it would have been able to not come off as anything other than like a complete scam. But nobody really sees it that way. People see it as like, well, she just rebuilt the white division or the white belt division, her image, and like there is a lot of truth to that. However, why is that white division all her friends? Why is that white belt division all her friends? So yeah.
Number 5, Paul Heyman manipulates Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns into being a feud about him. This may be Paul Heyman's greatest manipulation yet. Paul Heyman has been in wrestling for like 40 years. The level of like we know Vince is a mark for Brock. Heyman has found a way to like slip himself in there, like to like work both sides of the aisle and Roman into this, where it's like, I'm just going to bounce between both of them. And I know in real life, I kind of stick my neck to one of these guys, but like, how about in the storyline, we make this thing, you know, we bring this to life, you know, in the storyline, you know, how, and then like people will, like he's convinced people that it's interesting too. I'm like, no, it's not.
Right. It's because it's like, whose side is he going to be on? Ultimately, it's like, he's Paul Heyman. He's on the side of whoever wins. Like, they're like, are you saying like who's he going to sit who's he's going to sit the dagger in who's back? I guess sure, but it's like, this is what, like the 7th, 8th, 9th match between them. Like, if the subplot has gone from like the fact that they've had this heated rivalry to it's about one's manager because now they're in like a loyalty triangle, gotta say that doesn't really want me to see them fight, especially after I've seen them fight and have bad matches before. So best of luck to all those that watch it, and I'm sure I'll be one of those suckers too for when it comes to WrestleMania 37.
Man.
No, I'm sorry, 38. Yep.
Dick Togo continues to gain influence over New Japan booking. He must be stopped. He must go. There are terrible stories from all the wrestlers, like the Gaijin wrestlers. You can just look at the Hiromu, Shingo, Ishii looks like he didn't get his way. They just fucked with him. Poor him. But it's just been horrible. Like with the show stuff, Show and Yo feud falls flat. Just the Togoism has spawned a term that is, you know, I think we're helping popularize with keeping it strong style, who's kind of leading the way on that. It's just like, how, like,
Right.
what did Gato, like, who comes off this like great run of like winning Booker of the Year like 7 out of 8 years and like shit, like he just looks around and decides he doesn't have it one day and he needs to start listening to Dick Togo out of nowhere. Like, did Dick Togo like save him from a burning building once? Did he like save him from getting hit by a car or something? What is the loyalty price on this? When will it be even? James, you remember Carlito's Way?
Go ahead. Where are you going with this?
So when Kleinfeld got Carlito out of jail, he kept there was a sense of guilt that Carlito felt like he needed to pay Kleinfeld back for this. And this included doing things like shaking guys down, standing up for Kleinfeld, and then all the way it goes to like helping to break a mafia boss out of jail, and then like being an accessory to murder. Like, is the deal paid yet? Are we even yet? Like what happened, Gato? Like, look that man in the eye and say, we're even. Like, you don't owe him shit. He's going to run. He's going to end your tenure if you keep playing with this.
Yeah. This is what I'll say. I would say to Gato, if he's not careful, he will be the person that said he used to be prom queen and now he's a prom fiend. Like, that Togo shit is a crack. Stop smoking that shit. It is bad. It is taking you to bad places. It is not good for your life. It is not good for the people around you. Stop it. Put that pipe down. Stop smoking that glass dick.
Yes. The Die Rocky Die who booked this shit, Failure of the Year award. My God. Bianca Belair at SummerSlam. We've been over it a million times. It sucked from every angle. It never paid off. It, like, even if it does pay off, it will be to lesser results.
It'll be after she's already ice cold.
Correct. And it was just a terrible way to treat this woman and the people that flew out there to see that, like, including one of our homeboys. Like, what the fuck? Like, imagine ripping your fans off like this. Imagine. The dud after Omega and Moxley. To be fair, no one booked this, but like when you depend on pyrotechnics will then like Prince had a slogan that you say, you use the computer, don't let the computer use you. Well, you use the pyrotechnics like until like the pyrotechnics decide to like not use you. Like y'all know what I'm trying to say, but look.
After I just said a prom queen, prom fiend, she's with the living computer gets it. Why are we keep making these crack analogies? These crack and cocaine analogies. Oh man, look. I mean, it was one of those things where it's like they booked this incredible story of this.
Shit just got fucked up.
Of this completely evil person that used to be a babyface, completely turning and going to stooping in these low measures to then leave his greatest rival, the person that like he really can't beat on his own, to die. And then in that, like, this person that the hero had believed in all along comes to save him. And it's supposed to be his moment where like he falls on the grenade, he makes a sacrifice, and he's supposed to later show us like what he's worth, and he does. But at that time, when them fucking fizzlers go off, like them sparklers go off, like it's the 4th of July,
it felt like it.
and you handing your 5-year-old, or not a 5-year-old, you handing your like 8-year-old some fireworks that like you are sure won't hurt him because it's a sparkler, and them shits went off on the ring post, and like in the Moxie's book, he's like kicks on top of him, he's like, that shit sucked. And all of a sudden, Moxie hears boos. He hears boos. He's like, "Oh, that shit definitely sucked." They booing. It's like We're done here. We're done. Luckily, Kingston was able to save himself. He's like, yeah, I passed out. Whatever. I'm a man enough to say I don't passed out. Like, bro, had that shit happen to me, I don't know what I'd do. But I'd have been like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know how you walk through the curtain and you're like, do you want to fight someone? Do you want to like just like melt down and like be like, what the fuck is happening here? And then like contemplate your life.
Because you think they're playing with. Because look, you think they're playing with your life. You think they're playing with your profession. They think you're playing when they playing games with you. Oh, you want a rib now? At a time like this, you want a rib now? You want to crack jokes, bitch?
A very dark moment.
Oh yeah.
In the history of AEW, it was just like, and they bounced back from it like, it almost is like goofy now. It's something to look back and laugh at, right? But at the time, it was like,
this could be like the beginning of something bad,
right?
Yeah.
But at least it wasn't zombies eating wrestlers in WWE.
Didn't Miz like blood? Didn't Miz hurt his knee during all that stuff too?
Yes, another
insult
example
to injury.
Of the Miz. Another example of the Miz needing to be put in a coffin. Zombies eating wrestlers in WWE during a match, and then the zombie match. Product placement run amok. Just all the things no one wants to watch in wrestling. The undead, and not like the Undertaker.
Well, I hear quite often that people like this kind of stuff in the professional wrestling. But I will say this: the people that watch that kind of stuff for wrestling, you see those attendance numbers for those venues, it's real low. It's real low. Like that's some neat shit. That is some like that's not the norm. Like that is for you and like your friend, but not for everyone. Remember
it's for
that.
You and you is for you and your friends, like Tam Nakano's white belt.
I thought you were gonna say like Snoop and Wiz. And Ty Dolla $ign.
So the Rock and the story of the Golden Egg at Survivor Series. This fucking whole show built around worshiping the Rock, and the Rock don't even fucking show up.
Unbelievable.
Just clownery. When you do clownery, like, and then the Rock subsequently showing up everywhere else.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah. Bearcat Lee, boy, bad, real bad. He's not longer with the company, but it still stinks. People, I think the worst part about it is like the people that came to the defense of it, because WWE wasn't even trying to defend it. It was just people trying to defend it.
Making shit up.
And then he got fired, and now, Hodel.
Yep. Y'all was crying over Bearcat Wright and all this. I will never forget it. I dunked on you and got hundreds and hundreds of likes for it.
Next one, Drew McIntyre post WWE Championship. Man, Rich, if you were going to start an American professional wrestling promotion, give me a ballpark figure in multiples of fives. How many handfuls of people are you calling before you eventually call Drew McIntyre for your American professional wrestling promotion?
He's solidly in my top 10, I would say.
Yeah. If I was going to have a top babyface, he might be in the first handful. Quite frankly, like if I want to have someone present themselves to talk to press, to make the media rounds, to look like a star, have the airplane talk where he looks like a star, he turns heads when he walks through the damn airport. And a dude that wrestles his ass off every single night.
Look, that can wrestle big people, wrestle small people. He's quite possibly like, if you like non-Brock Lesnar division, like he might be the best WWE heavyweight ever.
Like plus 240, yeah. He's awesome, and I don't know what's he gonna do. I don't know. Is he even gonna have is he gonna be in the Andre come WrestleMania? The fuck have they done? Look what they've done.
No, he's out with a neck injury, so he's probably going to miss WrestleMania and everything like that.
Before that happened, what do you think he was going to do? He already wrestled Seth.
He was staring at the mid card.
Yeah.
Like deep mid card, like all that dude. Like, I suggest y'all go look at what he did with Sheamus and Lashley, and like there are a few things that I like to watch in WWE, and Drew McIntyre is one of them.
Yep.
Hope he gets well. Unifying the lineage of the IWGP Intercontinental and Heavyweight titles. This was quite possibly one of the dumbest things I've ever seen when it comes to like a championship in wrestling. They decided to erase all this history of not only the belt, the white belt that they've had for like 10 years, right? But like the IWGP title that goes back to like 87 with Inoki, and they had all those champions from literally Hogan and Inoki and Shinya Hashimoto and
Muda.
all the three Musketeers into the Tanahashi, and then all the guys in the 2000s, Yuji Nagata, Okada finally gets it. Suzuki never won it. Then our modern times and all that shit is like out the window, and it's like we're gonna create this new championship, put it with the IC, and it's like we're throwing the lineage out too, and we're gonna start over again. It's like, I understand there are certain points in time that things start over, but I don't think this was necessary or needed. It was doing shit just to do it.
Yep. And it killed a lot of goodwill. And it's also like really made no sense from an advertising or marketing perspective, where it's like they go into this year in the Dome and they put Inoki at the start of the show for Wrestle Kingdom, and then to celebrate their 50th anniversary, and how they're about to have their 50th anniversary show in April, March, the spring.
Yeah,
the spring,
March.
Right? And then to cap that off, it's like, okay, so you do all that because you're going to your 50th anniversary. What better way than to go into your 50th anniversary with your fourth crowned champion? What? Like, and you knew it was a bad idea when ultimately, like, they put it on. They do it, and they can't ever get it to make any sense for anybody until they put it on fucking Okada. Like, Okada, can you save this? Can I bring out V4 for a little bit? Okay, whatever, man. Just get the fuck out of my face. Go away. And I'll fix it. I'll try to fix it.
Big E's WWE Championship reign. A reign that featured like
L's.
7 losses in various forms, constantly reminding you that he was a second-class citizen as a world champion, sticking him opposite of Roman Reigns every chance you got to help him survive during football season ratings-wise. The ratings kind of tumbled on his watch. Obviously, they died at the live gates. Like that, I'll never forget that Madison Square Garden show. Good God. The one after Christmas. And it was just like all the pitfalls I knew were there. Knew that, they don't know how to book a babyface to begin with. And then thinking about Big E and thinking about the goofiness and the gyrating and all that other stuff. And he just never felt at the level. And Brock F5'd him into oblivion.
So, kind of like the 2006, like Seattle Supersonic, like just up there, shit just raining L's. just raining L's. Like L's falling down. But look, at least for them, like that netted them Kevin Durant. What did this net WWE? Nada. Bupkis. Nathan. Let's move on.
Look, and they waited till he was like 36 to do it, and he won it in some bullshit, and then lost it in a whimper, and limped in between. Gimmick of the year, best vehicle to get over, being the elite, constant on this list every year. Being elite is going to give you a certain amount of things that get over to end up translating to AEW. It's just how things work. Kenny Omega being the belt collector. One of the hardest photos of all time is his double or nothing entrance. We has the 4 belts, 2 of them wrapped around his body, 2 in his hands, Callis grinning from ear to ear, Kenny with this look on his face like he's the fucking man. I was there in person and saw it. It was awe-inspiring, really. Dan Lambert, an old school hater. That kind of says it itself. Miro, the Redeemer. Hook. No explanation needed. And Hit Row, Rap Click, one of the best things that ever was come up with. I would say in all of wrestling. And then WWE decided they had no use for it.
Yeah. Bring them up from developmental so that we can fire them. Bring them up to the main roster, we can fire them. Not put them back, just get rid of them. Awesome stuff. WWE match of the year. 8 matches. Johnny Gargano versus Kushida from Vengeance Day. Walter versus Tommaso Ciampa from the WrestleMania weekend takeover or week takeover. Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair from WrestleMania. Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, Edge, the triple threat main event from WrestleMania second night. Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan in Daniel Bryan's last match in WWE. Walter versus Dragunov in the last ever NXT takeover. Went out with a bang, I guess. Edge versus Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell in Crown Jewel this year, and NXT Men's War Games.
Not as bereft as one would have thought, but we did have to work hard to come up with that list.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, 4 of these matches came from the dead brand. Still.
Hey, which one are you talking about?
Oh, the one that changed color schemes.
Look, is there anything from Monday Night Raw? Edge and Seth Rollins?
Yes, that'd be Edge and Seth Rollins. But they had to go to Saudi Arabia to do it.
Gotcha.
Nothing for the home fans. Nothing for the domestics.
Rest of the stuff was SmackDown. Yeah, bro. It sounds like Raw is the dead brand.
AEW match of the year. Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson and Arthur Ashe. Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros. The cage match at All Out. Outstanding match. Young Bucks versus John Moxley and Eddie Kingston at Double or Nothing for the tag titles. Heyman versus Bryan Danielson, the hour-long draw at Winter is Coming. Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page at Full Gear. The story of the promotion. The great title change. Bryan Danielson versus Minoru Suzuki in one of the greatest exhibition matches of all time. Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa. Was that a lights out match?
Lights out match.
Yes,
yep.
lights out match. Yes, because it doesn't count for Britt losing. That's right. Young Bucks versus Pac and Phoenix. Just an all-star game. Just an all-star game.
Love these matches on this list. Like, when I think about what a big match feels like, I think of Omega and Danielson. When I think of tag team excellence, Bucks and Moxley, Hangman Page and Danielson getting Hangman off to like a 60-minute match. Like, that shit was excellent. Omega and Page, big title change. Bucks and Lucha Bros, like classic tag team cage match where they kind of limited themselves. Like, imagine, like, they didn't even fly all that much.
Yeah.
As you said, a great exhibition match with Danielson and Suzuki. Baker and Thunder Rosa, the defining women's match in the history of the promotion. And the Bucks breaking out, like with 2 guys in there that can, match or exceed them athletically. And, like, it's just like, roll out of bed 5 stars, like in the new presentation. Like, oh, can the Bucks really be heel? Of course it can be heel. So there's like 3 Young Bucks matches on here. There is 3 Danielson matches on here. I didn't put, like, I cut Kenny Omega versus Phoenix at the last minute because I felt like I was choosing between 5-star matches. So that one like didn't see the light of day, but that was also considered.
Okay,
great list.
Yeah, Rich, can you run? Or I'll run it down. Stardom match of the year: Julia versus Tam Nakano, white belt hair versus hair match from Budokan Hall, main event. Awesome match. Utami Hayashishita versus Shuri, red belt match from June 12th. The match that brought Western fans in droves. Mayu Iwatani versus Momo Watanabe for the 5-star Grand Prix, the opening night. Incredible match. Momo Watanabe versus Shuri from the Grand Prix final on September 25th. Another incredible match. Tam Nakano versus Mayu Iwatani, white belt match from Osaka-jo Hall. Went to 30-minute draw. Just brutal slugfest. Utami Hayashishita versus Takumi Roha, also from Osaka-jo Hall on October 9th. A bomb throwing competition between basically two horses. Like, whatever you've seen, whatever you think that Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns can do, they ain't doing this. Tam Nakano versus Saya Kamatani, white belt match from December 29th in Sumo Hall. Title change. Ibushi versus Okada. I mean, Ibushi versus Omega. And Utami Hayashishita versus Shuri, red belt match, no time limit. The rematch that everyone waited for 6 months. Culmination of a great story and a great year for Stardom.
Yeah, man. Lots to choose from. Pretty much as much variety as I described in the AEW category.
Yeah. Pay-per-view of the year. Best pay-per-views in WWE, Stardom, New Japan, and AEW. Wrestle Kingdom, Night 2, January 5th. Stardom All-Star Dream Cinderella in Budokan Hall, March 3rd. NXT Vengeance Day on Valentine's Day. AEW All Out. AEW Full Gear. And Stardom, Dream, Queendom in I'm blanking. I'm sorry. Stardom 5-star Grand Prix final on September 25th, and Stardom, Dream, Queendom on December 29th in Sumo Hall.
Also, AEW Double or Nothing.
I didn't say Double or Nothing?
Nope, forgot that one.
I did. Oh, I didn't have a date on that. Let me fix that and put the date in. Sorry.
I think you went in order. Yeah, that's.
I was trying to put it in order, and I didn't put it in order. I tried my best, and I am screwing it up. So whatever. You'll see the 8.
Lots of great shows.
Yeah, lots of Stardom and lots of AEW. Like, it's almost as if these are the 2 best promotions in the world going right now. Almost.
Yeah, imagine if that was the case. Moment of the year. Kenta appears on AEW Dynamite to open the real forbidden door. Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson debut in AEW at All Out. I don't think I'll ever forget that moment, that night, that fallout. It was just like, man, this shit was crazy, man. CM Punk returns at the first dance. People moved to tears. I wrote a fucking column that night. I was so like jacked about it and fired up. The great reception Punk got, the loud ass extended pop, the promo. It was just like, a special moment in wrestling that doesn't come along every day. Like, there are people on this list every year winning belts and stuff like that. There's not going to be a CM Punk returns at the first dance on here next year.
Yep.
Britt Baker wins the AEW Women's World Title. Bianca Belair defeats Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's title. Hangman Page wins the AEW World title. Tam Nakano wins the white belt. Shuri wins the red belt. So those are your moments. Pick wisely. Creative success of the year. The Darby and Sting Alliance. Number 2, Adam Page versus the Elite. Number 3, Utami Hayashista's red belt reign. Number 4, Kenny Omega as the AEW World Champion. Number 5, Bryan Danielson reborn in AEW. 6, Bobby Lashley's main event push. 7, Starlight Kid's heel turn. And 8, The Labors of Jericho. A lot of great stuff as far as creative went from things such as like ensuring one of your future stars is going to always have this rub with the Sting and Darby thing. The Elite in Adam Page, we've said it many times, the history of the promotion and like building equity with your fans. I think that feud went a long way to do that. You talk about an ace run, Utami, and then like every main event delivering. Kenny Omega, AEW World Champion, a rise across business, across like working the main events, elevating other people to make them look credible while not like just running everybody over. Thought it was really impressive what he did, and then he did all that damn near falling apart, and nobody really knew until the end how bad it was. Add in the vertigo too. Yeah. Just sprinkle that on top. Bryan Danielson being reborn in AEW from September on just went on a speed run just to be like, I'm back. Like Bobby Lashley, his main event push just like I think went very well for someone that always works hard, always in great shape, and should have got a chance a long time ago.
Yep. But they were mad because he didn't want to wrestle super duper hurt because, they gave him a shot. Idiots.
Starlight Kid's heel turn. When you take like someone like Starlight Kid and you remove this safe kind of thing you thought you knew, and it's like, oh shit, she's a heel now. What is the gear going to look like? What is the work going to be like? Right. There's a lot of questions there, and I think she answered all of them.
Yeah. Huge future star.
The Labors of Jericho. Every week there was something new. There was a fucking death match with Nick Gage. There was him and Shawn Spears overachieving. There was fucking Juventud Guerrera showing up. Wardlow, like just every week in the promos leading up to it and up to the MJF being the last one. And that match, like, I think was actually really good, the one that was on TV. And it was like, damn. Did Jericho it felt like this like end of the career like kind of thing he was doing, and it was really interesting, and I thought helped carry a lot of the summer along with it was like the B story among the Page versus the Elite. It was like the Labors of Jericho thing, and it was like really solid. I think I don't know if it's people are really talking about it anymore, but I think they should.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to do with him being phased down. Mm-hmm. But you're right. That's all a part of, the inner circle pinnacle feud. I thought, there were some things that I did not love about it. And some of those matches I did not love about it. But the story of going week to week or month to month, going through the whole thing with the Guevara and Sammy at each other's throats, is Inner Circle going to turn on Jericho and kick him out in favor of MJF? And then you turn out there's they're sticking together, but MJF expected that, and now he has his own goon squad. So now blood and guts, war games, let's go. I thought all of that and then the match, to get the match after they, I think Jarrett or MJF went up either 0-2 or went up 2-0 or 3-0, I can't remember. And he's like, I gotta get off the board against this fucking guy. And like, what do you want to do? Like, if you want to get to me, fine. Remember what I did to Cody? I'll sing you on something just as crazy. Go out here and wrestle all these goofy ass matches. And after you've been worn down, you can fight me. And he gets that mat. He goes through all that stuff and he keeps going week to week to week. And he finally gets his hands on MJF and he finally beats MJF. But like, it works out great because like, MJF still won the overall feud. It's just Jericho won the last one and we can move on and MJF can get his heat back quickly and we can retool. And like, that is what I like to call real good booking. Real good booking.
Yep. Yeah. And the last award, the classic award from day one on One Nation Radio, the IWC award. So the biggest internet controversy. So, number one, AEW wins the Wednesday Night War. Basically gets Wednesdays to themselves, sends NXT spiraling into number two, NXT 2.0. Everything that's surrounding NXT 2.0, the cap that's going on about it, as far as like, people claiming it's superior, deriding the style of wrestling from the previous era. I think the clear demonstration of like the greenness, there's just a lot going on conversation wise with NXT 2.0. Number three, the reaction to many wrestlers jumping from WWE to AEW. Everyone from Malachi Black and Andrade to Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson left from WWE into AEW. Then, someone like CM Punk showing up in AEW. All the discourse that this created and the desperation that was, someone like, people wishing for that to have been messed up. Like as far as like the CM Punk thing, they were saying, what if MJF does this and ruins it? And there was just a lot of like, there were people sending death threats to wrestlers. It was just bad overall. Like people embarrassing themselves over and over again, just in disbelief that people have just defied WWE. And whether they were let go by WWE or these people chose to leave, it was never good enough. Like from, what these people want to do essentially with their careers. If they were fired from WWE, they should never wrestle again. If they chose to leave, they're ungrateful bastards. Fuck them. And it was just like, wow. Here's what they think about you. Like,
yeah.
4, AEW Rampage beat SmackDown head to head on cable. That 1 week, it was fucking nuts. Like with CM Punk head to head against like Becky Lynch and Roman Reigns and Sasha Banks and Brock, and then like the Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns segment was beat by the Bunny. It was a lot that was going on there. A lot of memes, a lot of shit talk. It was a hot time on Twitter.
Yes, a lot of Fast Nationals became a thing.
Oh yeah,
isn't that fun? Fast Nationals, isn't that fun?
Yeah, it is just like WWE is paying for bad numbers, and when they don't leak, you can tell that was a good number for AEW. That actually happened with Battle of the Belts. Like they tried to, but it was weird because like the Fast Nationals they leaked were way lower than what the actual numbers turned out to be. So sometimes it doesn't work in their favor. But Rampage didn't leak this week because they knew Rampage was like kind of solid or whatever. So it's weird how it all works. But there have been journalists that have kind of been getting caught up in this stuff and exposed, which was pretty funny, to the point to where they decide not to release them anymore. Some are just taking the numbers. This got out of the wrestling circles into people like Darren Ravel. TK made sure to follow back up with Darren Ravel. It was pretty funny, honestly, seeing all that stuff. But Rampage beating SmackDown head to head on cable kind of exposed the shaky ground that I think WWE's popularity is on, and then it, you know, kind of shows you the value of network television.
Yeah.
Because just anyone could be watching that shit or not watching it. It could just be on.
Yeah. Like, channel placement is real, and people think it's not. And it's like, well, okay, bud. Like, I remember when this happened, I remember saying to you, like, they're going to be on FS1. They're going to lose. They're probably going to lose. You were like, well, you know, I was like, nah, bruh. The FS1 shit ain't exactly easy to find. So comparatively speaking to, you know, TNT, of course. So I was like, they're going to lose, and they lost. And it was more like, you know, it's funny.
They try to tell you they didn't lose too.
They lost. It's fine. The thing is, like, they lost in a fight where, like, they shouldn't win because of the cable packages and the cable channels and the cable lineups. Like, FS1 should never be able to outdo what or shouldn't outdo regularly what TNT does. This isn't supposed to. Same thing with like anything on ESPN or anything on like CNN. Like, you're just gonna lose, or not CNN. You get my point. Like a building, a foundational piece of your cable package should beat a fucking tertiary affiliate for sports. Sorry, that's how this goes.
But never forget, WWE added on an additional half hour just to go head to head,
right? And put their their biggest stars on the shit. Like, that's the main thing. Is like, y'all went to a losing station. Y'all still souped it up. Like, are y'all dumb? Well, the way they behave in the, like, this is the answer is sometimes yes. So it's one of those things where it's like, y'all set yourselves up for the L. Y'all caught it. And I bet y'all won't do that one ever again.
Number 5, budget cuts. We've heard people getting, you know, let go due to these mysterious budget cuts. We never figure out what the budget is. They find money for other stuff. So it's
like Fast Nationals.
Yeah, exactly. So they can pay for fake numbers to try to use for smear tactics, but, you know, they got to fire everybody and cut them during the pandemic still. Number 6, everything relating to black wrestlers. I could not narrow this down. It was just so much this year. And this stands from like positive to negative to weaponizing the positive stuff to the negative stuff. Like, you know, as recent as like, you know, TK in December. So like, everything, like, it's just been like WWE Rolling Loud this year, and like and thinking like in like, you know, Sasha and Bianca headlining, Bianca losing, AEW leaving black wrestlers off the cards, that exploding the conversation on Twitter, the myth that WWE is the Black Metropolis, the looking how Hit Row got, you know, the life cycle of Hit Row, essentially.
Yeah.
It was a lot, and we talked about, I think, just about all of it, if I'm not mistaken, like on the show over the year. But it was just like constantly finding like myself in a position where like I don't want to do the arguments on Twitter, like, because it's like it feels unproductive. And it feels like, you know, something that someone's always going to just try to weaponize something to use it for the agenda they want to push. There's a lot of grifting going on that I saw, especially like the Forbes guy, I think was probably the worst offender. And I think, you know, I was talking to the JML in the Discord, and I was like, I don't know, man. I think, you know, there are ways to build stars that work and ways that don't. There are fake ways to build stars, and then there are real ways to build stars. The slow and steady builds are the ones I tend to prefer, because those ones are actually have a foundation. The other ones, they could be here today, gone tomorrow. So everything related to black wrestlers has been fucking chaos in 2021, I think, and the black wrestling conversation in general. I think a lot of people are finding out that not all black people feel the same about a lot of this stuff. So I think to all these groups, it's a shock that everyone doesn't feel the same, but we don't. So number 7, the Young Bucks being sneakerheads. We saw that.
Thanks,
that's kind of
dollar.
that's kind of a spinoff to number 6, which I don't know. You know, the Bucks offended. You know, they tapped into something that I guess people got real pissed about. On top of them being the Young Bucks, and it was a constant thing. And number 8, pro wrestling tees being hacked, and then them not contacting people until after like the Christmas orders was already done. They sent it through old fashioned snail mail. This was like, I don't know what the dollar amount on it was, but I think all the people that use fucking pro wrestling tees, they got all the, like, any, if you use in the last year, chances are your shit got fucked up. I happen to have not ordered anything last year from Pro Wrestling Tees, so I felt lucky, but that's not everyone's case.
That's true. That is true. I got spared, just luckily. Just luckily.
Man, what you think about that category?
Loaded as always. Don't feel like it is as potent as previous years. Like, I mean, the Saudi Arabia stuff used to win every year. I think, or did COVID win last year? Either way, like, you know, it's been loaded with COVID and blood money for a long time, and doesn't seem as ridiculous as previous years. But it's still ridiculous.
Well, anyway, those are all the awards for the One Nation Radio Awards this year. We will do our best to get that bracket to you guys within this week. And then the next couple weeks, you'll see it embedded in the episode. I'll be soliciting votes, voting things from everybody. Worked pretty hard putting all this stuff together. We would appreciate it if you guys dropped your votes in. We will not be fixing any results, so the results will be what they say on this bitch. So there's a lot, you know, to consider with a lot of these awards, and I hope you guys listen to this show and figure we were pretty honest putting this stuff together, like, you know, what we covered. So, like, you know, you didn't see enough WWE, blame WWE. If you saw too much AEW, maybe they should be worse. It is what it is.
Yeah. That's in the show, y'all. Thanks for listening. Be sure to go to Red Circle and drop us off with a donation. And listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keep It a Strong Style, you have the Ricky and Clyde Wrestling Show, you have Grumman Watches Shit, you have 8-Bit Suplex, you have the Grave Consequences Podcast, you have All Things Elite, you have Great Match Generator, and you have AEW Match Guide. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.